hello everybody. This is Scum.com. I'm probably a new face because I'm usually behind the camera. But I'm Dante. I guess editor, social media marketing editor for Scum.com. I'll let the other fellows chime in. Bobby, I'll start with you.
Hello there, Star Wars
You should know
fans. I'm
him.
sure you guys know me very well, and I hope y'all are getting to know Patrick a little bit more if y'all haven't already been following him, but I'll let him introduce himself.
I am Patrick, turntable to the dark side on Instagram, TikTok, maybe temporarily, maybe forever, we'll see, and also on YouTube.
Also, maybe temporarily, maybe forever, who knows?
Maybe, we'll see.
If they
Everything's up in
really
the
want
air
to
right now.
keep us.
No, I mean, everyone should have seen at least one of these two um, pretty regularly on our channel. Patrick is our vintage collection guy. And Bobby's everything else that's not vintage collection. So that's going to be changing very soon, though. I will say that.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
Ooh,
we are bringing new people on
Well,
TBD,
and
but
nice.
yeah.
and don't forget, Nick also does Gentle
Oh,
Giant,
yes, and
and
Nick is the Gentle Giant
specifically
guy.
Jumbos, but
Yeah.
Nick is the Gentle Giant guy, and he also covers some of our other content here on rebelscum.com. And
Yeah.
yes, we are talking to some other lovely content creators out there who are just, in my opinion, good positive beacons in the community, like
Yep.
Patrick here and Dante.
I
Perfect.
try.
I appreciate it. I wish I'd create more, but we'll see. Maybe some hot toy stuff that I have coming down the pipe. I can occasionally pop in and things of that sort. But until
You
then,
should, man.
I will be in the background, making y'all's content look very good for the site. So hopefully,
Well, thank you.
hopefully
Thank you
everyone
so
enjoys it.
much.
Yeah, hopefully everyone enjoys it
I,
and socials, all that fun stuff. So
Yeah, y'all should see my content before Dante gets a hold of. It looks like a kid coloring with crayons.
a little bit, but it's
so you
okay.
got the sauce, huh? You got the spice
Yeah, I
on
mean, I
that
guess
Let's see
for
what.
for background, I'm a social media director in my daytime job, so I've been
Oh,
doing a
okay.
lot of, the stuff that I do now, like for going on almost a decade now. So, the great part for me, it was like, look, I'm gonna come in. I love doing Star Wars, love doing social media. It's a perfect fit. So, it's been awesome working with everybody. So, but yeah, that's not why we're here. We are here because we saw the guys at SW, or obviously Star Wars TVC, but on Instagram at SWTVC. They're doing some great stuff, and they have been for a few years now. I think it's five, I believe, five, at least
Five.
five.
Yeah, this is the
Um,
fifth year.
yeah, so they've been doing this kind of March Madness bracket going for honestly things it is called March Madness for them, TVC March Madness, the Vintage Collection March Madness, just to really go over like, hey, like here are things that the community really wants to see. We have seen from time to time Hasbro can look at it, so we hope that our
We
voice,
definitely do.
yeah, they do. But I don't want to speak for anybody, but they have their eyes. It's on the radar. So if we can
Oh
contribute to it,
yes.
yeah, if we can contribute to it, we definitely will. And
Oh
that's what we're
yeah.
here to do today. Pat and Bobby, they have their
I
list, but that's
I
basically what we'll be
apologize.
going through.
I was in the midst of sharing our post, but
Yeah.
I can actually personally attest to that with multiple conversations with various team members of the Star Wars team of Hasbro, Chris, um, Emily, Eric, all of those guys, Jing. They definitely do watch and check out these posts and these contents from not only us but all kinds of Star Wars content creators on all kinds of platforms. So, guys, seriously, keep it up. Make that video. Make that post. Post a few pictures. It doesn't have to be perfectly organized and full on production,
Yep.
but but let your voice be heard because they do actually watch and they do take our voices into account. Just do your best to be as constructive and positive as possible with it is my
Yep. Yep.
recommendation because that's going to
Please.
be the best way to get your voice heard, I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Don't go
yes, they
guns a
definitely
blazing.
do watch.
We get it. There's frustrations that happen, but if we can be good to the
If you,
people behind the scenes and know there's especially being in marketing, I know there's a lot more factors that go into it than just one person making the decision. So,
Hmm.
um,
trust trust me when I say there's a cool feeling when you see the eyes of these people who are physically making these figures for us light up
yep.
when you tell them that you're excited about a certain droid or alien or character that they just tooled or announced. And if you ask them about that process or, well, how did you go about that character? Oh man, they love that even more. Seriously.
Yeah. So it's
There
all
were a
good
couple
stuff.
of them
All
that
of Go ahead, Pat.
were
Sorry.
in the live stream.
Yeah.
When SWTVC did the initial live stream announcing the fifth round of this, or fifth
Mhm.
year of this rather. There were multiple comments from Emily, comes to mind, but so
Mhm.
yeah, they're definitely watching. They're
Yeah.
absolutely watching.
So we'll move into before we even get into kind of wish list stuff, top 25s for us. We are
Mhm.
actually going to pipeline, which SWTVC very nicely has put together on Instagram. That is us, or that is them right here. Actually, make sure. Yeah, it looks good. Um, so we are looking at it from our screen, fellas. You can't see, so hopefully you guys have it pulled up in general. But here's a full graphic layout of it. Obviously, we'll go into the next very nicely done checklist in general. Kind of wave one, wave two, the different waves, even the HasLab. Um, the cantina is very nicely laid out. So just want to see if any of y'all had any big ones you guys are really looking forward to before we get into our list.
I'm currently trying to pull up the pipeline post that you were
I
talking about
apologize.
real quick.
That was
No,
something
you're
I
good.
should
You're
have
good.
had top of mind or top of everyone's
I
inbox
was
there.
also in the process of finishing sharing our post around here on Facebook/Meta. So if you are just now tuning in, hello there, and welcome to our discussion. We haven't actually started talking about our top 25 just yet. We're just now getting started, and we are also talking about the pipelines first. Dante, where did you say you sent that pipeline info to?
The RobosCum's creator, RobosCumCon creator,
Oh, you
.com
did send it there.
creator.
Whoops.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, let
the
me look real quick.
second message.
Mm.
The second to most recent message. It's just a link specifically. Actually,
Okay,
I
hang
probably
on.
just send it like this. I don't know why I did it like that. I'll send it again.
I don't
There
either.
you go.
Ah, here it is. Yeah, I got it.
Nice.
I don't know why it just
Ah,
didn't like give me the preview, but
there we
come on, Instagram.
go.
You might have some more people.
Well, as far as to answer your question though, of figures in the pipeline I'm looking forward to the most, um, that Anakin. I mean, I feel like I speak for a lot of people when I say the Anakin. But also
Yeah.
the Anakin 3 pack.
3 pack,
I'm
yeah,
fine
this,
with the,
yeah,
the single, don't get me wrong, that's
yep.
awesome. But the 3 pack in particular, but maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but I think I might be the most excited for the George Sabaoth Heir to the Empire 3 pack. Like I was over the moon for that one.
Why would that be an unpopular opinion? The
Oh,
original Thrawn trilogy is one of the most popular Star Wars story in the
That's
entire
that's
fandom.
fair. That's fair.
I
There's
I
still
would die on that hill.
a large amount of people that when I mentioned that have no idea what I'm talking about. And I'm not trying to start like a Disney Star Wars there's just legends like argument or
Dude.
anything because I don't care if you like Star Wars, you like Star Wars, that's cool with
mhm.
me. But
Right.
but yeah, a lot of folks that I talk to have no idea what I'm talking about
I
when I
envy.
mention those characters. So anyway,
It for me it's the opposite. Usually
really,
what I hear around the community around cons and whenever it just comes up is quote, I wish Disney adapted these three books instead of the sequel trilogy. That's what I
yeah,
hear all the time. All the time.
yeah,
That specific trilogy, all the time.
yeah.
So that's why I'm like, that's definitely not an unpopular opinion, and it's
Okay.
actually really great. I'm very much looking forward to that pack too
Yeah.
because we just got that in Black Series 6-inch scale. Because and there it is, and it
I
looks
mean,
so amazing.
it's so
Um,
awesome. It really
he
is.
just Black Series Rasputin, and he looks great.
Yeah.
But they recreated it so well in VC. I'm excited about the new Thrawn, more
Hmm.
than the Jorah Sabaoth in particular, though, because I love Thrawn with the tassel epaulets on
Yeah.
his uh, uniform. I
He's got
prefer
his
that look
Islamari
for
too.
Thrawn. He's
Yeah.
got the Islamari too. Um, and fun, I don't know how true this is, but
Hmm.
the behind the scenes rumor fact I heard about why we got the gold bars instead of the tassels is supposedly due to animation budget. Like it was too expensive to animate
Yeah,
or something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So they changed it to bars because they still wanted to have some kind of gold something up there
Hmm.
to show that it's a Grand Admiral, aside from just the rank plaque and the 4 code cylinders and the white uniform. But still have that. And then getting Paleon in this 3 pack is really great. And what's cool about it is they modeled this Paleon after the live action likeness. So
Hmm.
the likelihood of us getting that Paleon on an Mandalorian card or
Oh
a
yeah.
Mando movie card, because supposedly we might be seeing Thrawn as the main antagonist of the Mando movie that's coming out soon.
Yep.
Um, Hasbro's not gonna not recard that figure again
Hmm.
since they
Multiple
based off
times.
his likeness, which
Yeah.
is kind of interesting because the Thrawn in that pack is based off of his comic look,
Hmm.
and so is Sabayoth, but not Paleon. I mean, the live action likeness is close enough. That's
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
cool about it. He was cast very very well, but
Hmm.
I just think that's kind of interesting. And then going over
No,
to
you're right
the
there.
Anakin 3 pack you were talking about,
Hmm.
I had a feeling we were gonna see Episode 3 pre-suit Vader again in
Yeah.
VC, because that's such a popular figure, and that's a figure that has crazy second market value right now in
Oh
vintage
yeah.
collection, especially carded. And getting the proper Anakin Vader labeled as Vader again is very exciting to me, because
Hmm.
whenever it comes up and someone's like, "Hey, Anakin on Mustafar," I'm like, that's Vader on Mustafar, not Anakin. When we see the green Ida interceptor and someone says
Hmm.
Anakin Starfighter, I'm like, no, that's Vader's Ida 2 interceptor. In fact, he even reclaimed it in the comics and flew it to Exegol, which was super cool.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yep, yep. So that pack is awesome. Plus, getting Clone Wars Anakin with the cape, I
Is
love capes.
sick. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then Emperor's
Well, I
Wrath
think
Vader looks good.
to your point about Thrawn's tassels in animation, was that not just like a physics issue back in the day? Like that was my assumption. Like because there were less capes.
I
You
don't
think
know.
that was just
That
kind of an animation physics issue?
It could have been. I mean, they definitely could animate something like that back then, but
Yeah.
like I said, I think it had to do with cost and that too.
Budget would have. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Anyway, talking about other pipelines, let's see, because we only talked about the 2 3 packs. There's some
Hmm.
other really cool stuff in the pipeline. Fennec, no, not Fennec, sorry. Shin Hati and Balin's Skull. Those are really awesome pipelines that we haven't seen the full
What they look
figure
like? Yeah.
renders of yet. I'm glad
Hmm.
they didn't pipeline Shin to be the one with the Howler mount instead of Sabine. Us
Ah,
getting another Sabine with it, because I
yeah.
feel like that would have been kind of messed up for the average VC fan who wants that carded Shin but doesn't want to open the Howler just to get the carded Shin separate.
I feel
Uh,
like they're definitely going to do a second 2 pack that includes Shin and Howler too,
I
right?
wouldn't be
Like,
surprised. I wouldn't be
yeah.
surprised because I mean Shin has been very popular in the Star Wars fandom. Her and Sabine really blew up after
Oh
Ahsoka,
yeah.
which I mean Sabine was already popular, but it was really cool to see so many fans take so well to such a new character like that,
Hmm.
because it doesn't always often happen, at
I
least
think
not in mass.
I think the real question is anyone scared of Shin's hair in TVC? I think TVC does a pretty good job with hair,
Yeah,
in general, as
yeah.
opposed to Black Series, but it's
Yeah.
something we saw from Hasbro before. Is that a
Mm.
concern? I guess Pat, for you being the TVC guy, what are your thoughts on the
Well,
possibility of what that could look like, based on what we saw with Black Series?
I'm hoping. I'll be honest. The Black Series one is a little iffy for me. I'm looking at it over on my shelf right now.
She's too tall.
Yeah, Balin's too short. There's definitely that
Yes,
issue, but
Balin is
but
We
yeah,
love a
the
short.
short king
molding of
though.
the hair is a little bit. I don't know. It looks a little like string
He's not
cheese kind
though.
of.
He's not a short king. That's the problem.
That's okay. It's good representation.
It's
What,
like
what do
the
you guys think
original.
about the new casting? By the way, hold on. Since we're on this subject.
This
they
might
announced the
actually
new
be an
cast.
unpopular opinion, but I
Yeah,
think it's a great casting.
I, I
I actually think
yeah,
it's
I think
really
so.
good. I think
I
he's
don't think
gonna
there's a
nail
lot
it.
of debate in that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If someone was gonna do him justice, that's definitely the guy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, seeing him as the Hound in Game of Thrones and um his portrayal of Megatron and Earthspark, I think he's gonna nail Balin. To be
Nice.
honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't look much like him. That's the hurdle they really have to get over. But
Yeah, they'll gussy him up.
performance wise, I think he'll nail it.
I mean,
Yeah.
they could have something happen to him in between that time, kind of
Right.
like yeah, like how well, I mean, this wasn't planned obviously with Mark Hamill and his accident he had to look a little bit
That's a
different.
good
So
point.
they
Before
could
he
do
got
Yeah.
that,
attacked
and
by the
then
Wampa.
2025, right? We got CGI, we got good makeup artists. I'm not too concerned about that, honestly.
I
Yeah.
was
I mean,
saying,
if we did an Iron Man, they could do it here, right? Like, it's way
right.
different, right? So
He's a variant. I was saying the other day that they could do like they did with Dengar, where he just took a thermal detonator to the face.
yeah,
Because that's why Dengar's face is scarred. His Boba threw a thermal detonator at his face.
And then so now he just wears a mask. Is he gonna wear a helmet in season 2 then?
That was
Or
something
we just not gonna see him at
Josh threw
all?
out there. That was what Josh said. Josh said he's got to get a mask now.
I
Yeah,
didn't think about it till literally just now, but they might do that.
why
Hmm,
not? It'd be
interesting.
interesting.
really
Be
just cover
interesting.
his eyes, really, because if
Um.
you can keep the gray hair, the beard, like it could be like a
All right,
interesting.
real
That
quick.
is interesting.
Let's finish off these pipelines.
Sorry.
No, you're
No, you're
good.
good.
Took
No, you're
us
good.
in
You're
the
good.
wrong direction here, but
I
Okay.
guess Pat, real quick though, just to finish it out,
yeah.
just
Sorry.
from what we saw Black Series, Shin TVC, I also know
Well,
with
yes,
your
yes.
reviews on TVC, the hair actually has looked very good, especially compared to Black Series. Are you any concerns really with this release?
No, and I'm not concerned because I think that they're going to take the complaints of the Black Series into account. And I'm hoping that, and obviously it's a little further down the pipeline than say, like the Luke that's coming out soon. But the fact that they don't have an image of it yet makes me think that hopefully they're spending a little bit of extra time on it. Both her and Balin, because I would like them to be the right scale this time. That would be so nice.
Well, I guess now thinking that what we just talked about, which Balin do we get? Do we get season one or season two Balin? Right? That's interesting to think
Um,
about. Very
I
ooh,
would.
interesting to think about.
I
Well, I bet it's season one Balin because they specifically used
Yeah,
Ray
that's true.
Stevenson's image
yeah,
for it.
Could you
Right?
imagine a two pack on that? Just as a,
And
like an
right
that's what I was
homage?
gonna
That'd be
say. They'll
cool.
do a 2-pack. Yeah,
and right now, from what I understand, I don't know if it's actually officially announced that the other guy is taking the role on yet. I think it's still just rumors at the moment.
yeah. It
I don't
seems
think it's been officially announced. I think it's
pretty
been
solid,
I think
but
it's
yeah,
breaking news that they're discussing it,
yeah,
but I don't think like he's actually taken it on yet.
Well,
yeah.
either
But
way, there's going to be someone else playing that role. It's not a role that goes
yes,
away. So,
yes,
Mhm.
interesting. Very interesting, though. I think it could be a good respect, homage, kind of even like a SDCC and exclusive to kind of do like a two pack with season one and season two, with both actors would be
Awesome.
kind of awesome, actually. Cool. All right. Not to go too far, so we can get into the reason we're all really here. But any other call outs for
yes,
Pipeline?
yes. I want to do at least one more real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
The Snow Trooper mold. This one is really cool. So the current VC Snow Trooper mold is great. It's always has been since it came out in 2006, but it is a classic character that has been long overdue for a more screen accurate update because while the articulation and the detail on that previous mold are awesome and having the removable helmet is so cool, having the more screen accurate thicker comma despite it not being cloth goods looks good. It still
Mhm.
has that nice kind of dirtiness to it and they still put some good washes on there that you can see, and I'm really excited to see how this new Snow Trooper is going to come out, especially with how well they've been getting articulation lately. Because we're getting a 2025 release of a Snowtrooper versus a 2006 Snowtrooper,
Yeah, I was gonna ask you
and
what that year was, and yeah,
that's
it's
that's
been
a
very
big
well due. Yeah, over
that's a
yeah.
big
Yeah.
gap for a major update. I mean, but the figure was so good it didn't really need it. Now Chewbacca, on the other hand, being a pipeline, he needs a new figure because
He
we've
really is.
Hasbro's been writing the same fully articulated Chewbacca since about 2003, and that boy is tired. So please let that pipeline Chewie be a new mold, because as much
Poor
as the
Chewie.
other one is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But at the same time, it's like, all right, let's do something a little different, please. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of what they talked about on the SWTVC announcement podcast was making the mains, and even though a snowtrooper's not a main, it's still Chewbacca absolutely is, and when you're working on something or a mold that's 20 years old, like when does Hasbro determine is the time? Like what's the time limit? Like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years in some cases.
Right.
But so I say all this to say a lot of my list are are from properties that we already have TVC figures from. They
Yep.
just may not be up to standard, like
Yep.
modern standard.
Same goes for mine. Or they're figures on our list that they're due for a re-release.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what we decided was we're gonna start by each revealing our first 5 out of our 25 at a time, starting with you, Patrick. So, what are
All
your
right.
first 5 figures in your VC bracket of 2025?
Super
Okay,
unpopular one, right, to start it off.
gonna reveal now.
But
There's
go
we're gonna
for
do
it. Yeah.
Exactly.
five at a time. Five at a time. Now it's revealed
So
on screen.
25 is the Stranger. Regardless of how anyone feels about the show, that is a cool looking character with a cool
Hmm.
looking mask, and I just anybody with a red saber, I want that baddie. So
100%.
I I'm on board with that one. It'll make a little more sense as we move up my list. I'll just leave it at that. But that's starting off with 25. Um, Number 24 is Ben Solo.
Mm,
And Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is 23. And again, I kind of went with the whole make the main thing. And I don't have a good looking figure of Kylo in that scale. The Black Series one's okay, but I would love to build out a TVC scene. And right now you're just using stand-ins from the 5 POA. I forget what that line was called, but anyway,
Force Awakens line, Rogue One line,
yeah,
Force Link was for
Force Link. That's what it was.
Last Jedi, and Force Link 2.0 was Solo.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So those and I love the would I prefer Heir of the Empire be the sequel trilogy? Sure, but I still like the Disney sequels, and I, I enjoyed that Ben Solo turn. So I'd love
Me
to see a
too.
representation of that too,
Me too. That's
and I feel like those kind of go together.
that's definitely on my list too. I mean, not on like
Nice.
my list for today. I mean, kind of actually,
Yeah.
kind of in a different way. But I also really like Kylo slash Ben Solo a lot, and I thought he was a really, really cool part of the sequel trilogy,
Yeah.
and I would love a Ben Solo figure. It's weird that he doesn't have a figure in any scale yet.
We got Dark Ray, but we didn't get a Ben
Right,
Solo, and that's frustrating.
right. And then some of us, like myself, are from the timeline where Hasbro pipelined um, Luke and Leia in
I
Black
remember that.
Series. Oh, you're
Yep.
in that. You're from that
I
timeline
remember
too.
that.
Um,
Yep. I
and
talked to
then
somebody else about that recently too.
yeah,
That's so
no,
funny.
they definitely did pipeline that. They
Yeah.
definitely did. Don't let them lie to you. They totally did.
I wonder what happened behind the scenes that got that squashed. Because
I
yeah,
don't
I
know.
would still love both of those
A new wave of
figures,
sequel
and
hate, I guess.
I
Probably.
guess probably yeah.
You know
Anyway,
how it
those would have
is.
been amazing.
Mhm.
But so moving on from the sequel trilogy, because I had to throw it a little bit of love. I am wearing my Knights of Ren shirt right now. So,
That's a good shirt.
but I really like the Skeleton Crew. How about you guys?
Oh, it's so good.
Oh yeah, you're
It's so
lying to
good.
yourself if you're not.
Yeah,
Space
it's
Goonies.
so
I'm
good.
I'm
Oh
in.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So I had to have some representation of that on the list. I didn't want to eat up the entire list and do the entire cast because I don't know how confident I am that they'll actually make them all. In fact, I'm probably not confident unless it becomes like a HasLab, and they make the ship and include the entire skeleton crew with it or something in like 3 years. Like that I could see that happening, and that would be pretty cool. But I had to throw Brutus on there, SM33, and of course Neil Nation.
Oh, and I will show the
Neil Nash.
and we'll show the
Neil
next five.
Nash.
Give me
Yeah,
just a moment.
can't escape old Neil right now, that's for sure.
Neil
And why would
Nash.
you want to?
Okay, the
Yeah,
next
he's
five
Um,
are popping up on screen. But yeah, Neil Nash, you can't. Yeah, I mean, Black Series got blessed.
oh, a new Qui-Gon,
Black
huh?
Series got
yeah.
blessed. So
Well,
Yeah,
that's kind of what
I
inspired
won't lie.
the next three picks is that Phantom Menace 3 pack that the Black Series got that looks so nice. I
It's a
would
good 3-pack.
love
Yeah.
to have, even if it's just a 3 pack, do that first, release the single carded figures later. That's fine, but I would love a better looking Qui-Gon, Obi, and Maul from the Phantom Menace.
Did we get Padawan Obi-Wan on VC
Um,
card? I thought we just got Qui-Gon and
yes.
Maul.
No, we have Padawan, Obi as well. Yeah.
Did we?
hmm He's
But no,
just not awesome. I'm trying to think. See, now you got me second guessing myself.
I
But
don't
yeah, I'm
remember
pretty
him getting a
sure.
figure in VC.
where the
I could
heck?
Hang
be
on, let me
wrong.
check.
You might be right.
There it is.
Let me check. I can find out right now on
Do it.
rebelscum.com.
Or on
Shameless pitch. Shameless plug.
Collector's Oracle too.
Or
Yeah.
on, yep, it should be on collectorsoracle.com as well. Let's see.
I put the
Hasbro
next five up. It's a little more manual on my end.
Vintage Collection. What else do you
Um,
have? Oh, Nihilus. Yeah, Nihilus. It's kind of crazy he's not in VC yet. He's in
I
Black
agree.
Series. He's in 3/4 scale. He got released first, what, in 2007, and then reissued in
Something like
Legacy
that.
Collection in like 2009, 2010.
hmm
But yeah, it's kind of interesting that he hasn't been put in VC yet. I thought he would have at least got recarded on a TVC card. HK47 did.
Especially, yeah, with all the Revens and well, just all the Revan love in general lately. Like Jazzwares has come up with a helmet and some.
And that helmet is sweet.
It is cool. And then we got a couple statues of him. Like I just felt like he was becoming a little more or pushed a little more in the forefront there. So yeah, it would make sense, that we would get a Nihilus figure as well. But anyway, it's on the wish list. The next one would be just a
Oh yeah, you're right. He did. TVC number
okay.
76,
That's what I
right
thought.
after Qui-Gon, who's 75.
Got it.
But yes, that
Um,
face desperately needs an update. That face sculpt is way
it's
outdated.
dog. Yeah, the Qui-Gon in particular. Like as I was making the list a couple days ago, I pulled out the Qui-Gon that I have, and it's just like, what? Who even is this?
At least Qui-Gon's not as bad though, because luckily the facial hair hides a good amount of the face,
That's fair.
and
That's
it's
fair.
harder to mess up the facial hair.
That's
Uh,
fair.
but
At least he's
yes,
got, yeah,
he does need an
a
update.
frame. But they all do, I think, and especially considering how nice the new mall is. Like, I want a mall that's as nice as the new Black Series one in Mini's
So,
collection.
like a totally new mold, because
Oh
they
yes,
did recently reissue the Phase 1 TVC mall.
yeah. I
But that
want
was
a
what,
whole new mold
2019.
that can actually balance and not fall over. I want some action poses, not
Mhm.
just Darth Maul. I don't know.
I would too. I don't blame you. The new Black Series mold is actually really great. It,
Yeah,
that one was a big improvement, because the first Black Series mall, I mean, it's fine. It's not a terrible figure, but
it's not bad. The
compared
legs are
to
a
the
little
new mold,
heavy
oh,
and it
it is
splits.
terrible.
Which one is?
I think
compared to the new mold.
if you
Yeah,
compare it to the new mold, it is terrible.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
I think
Indeed.
question I have
What's
then,
up?
because looking at 17, 18, 19,
I like questions.
do
Mhm.
they go the Black
We have
Series
questions
route
in
and
the
make that a
comments.
3-pack, or as someone on TikTok actually joked when they pipelined, or not pipelined, when they revealed the Anakin 3-pack, um, do they? I mean, the person on TikTok called it basically, oh, this is evolutions. Like here we are. This is the
Yeah,
this is basically it, right? Do you think they'll
yeah.
go that route, or would those be? I would personally think they'd be great. I mean, when you do 3-packs, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're single card anyways, but they're packed together, obviously. But I think they would
Hmm.
do great as
They
a.
are, unless it's a special action figure set,
Mhm.
because they
Yeah.
also have the special action figure set 3-packs that they do to homage the ones that Kenner did, where you get just 3 characters packed together in one kind of
Mhm.
open rectangular box, where you've got the just bubble in front of just all 3 of them just
Hmm.
together side by side. And Hasbro's even done a few of those in recent years. Not the past couple though. They've since switched to
I'm trying to
doing it
think.
carded style, like you said. But
Hmm.
it, like the clone pack, the clone ARC troopers, Jesse, Fives, and Echo are special action figure set style.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
So they could do it either
when
way.
I was putting these together, I was like, that could be interesting. But then
Yeah.
again, it's like, are we getting lazy now since we just did this in Black Series as a 3-pack? Either way, I think it'd be fine to be honest with you. Or I mean, even same thing with Skeleton Crew, right? Does SDCC come out with one that's like, here's the crew, like it doesn't have to be like a
Yeah.
widespread thing, and then they eventually come out with the single carded. Obviously, since they have the molds and everything's
Yeah.
printed already, but very interesting to think
It
about.
would have it would have been nice if they had done, to your point, like an SDCC exclusive 3-pack for the Phantom Menace 25th
Oh my
or
God,
Mm-hmm.
20th.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't do anything
Why?
for VC
Why not?
for
No.
SBCC
Yeah.
this
Sad
Yes.
year.
times.
It's
It
very
was just
disappointing.
the mall, Black
Yep.
Series, which was awesome. Not to I'm not trying to brag. It really was awesome. It's just weird
Yeah.
that we didn't get something for both scales. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people upset about it, and rightfully so.
Oh, phew,
But
I know it. I see the posts all the time in the TVC groups I'm in.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Oh, so many.
I
But,
will
you
start
know,
revealing, by the
if they
way.
would
You guys
just
keep
balance
talking.
the scales. I digress. So,
Okay.
what did you say? I didn't mean to
Oh,
cut you off, Dante.
no, you're good. I'm gonna reveal them as they go. So
Okay,
keep
sorry.
talking. Yeah, you're good.
So yes, generic clone commando. I wanted it to be generic just so that we could turn it into Delta Squad or whomever else. But I feel like if we kept it generic up front, we could do a whole bunch of variants with it. It would make sense tooling wise. That's kind of went with a generic version of it.
I'm kind of jealous about your number 14 pick. I wish I thought about that one.
Yeah, of
That
course.
not on my list, but it should be.
After getting the Keller and Beck card back from Rebel ScumCon last year and getting it signed by Ahmed, I'm like, man, what can I do the next time I see Ahmed? Actually, hopefully, have a real figure to bring. So yeah, that would be amazing. That is
Yeah.
definitely think about putting him with the Mando stuff. You could do like if you're into toy photography, you can do a lot of stuff with Grogu. Like I think that'd be a really fun figure.
Yeah.
Um, and then, of course, where are we up to, Dante? Where'd you reveal to? I'm sorry.
I'm
Up to
up
10.
to 11.
The
Well,
10?
10,
Oh,
10
Sorry,
would
up
be
okay.
to
next,
11.
but so 15
I
through
cannot
11 are
count.
up. Yep.
Gotcha. So Carson Teva,
That one, yeah,
this
long overdue.
exactly. Like
Yeah,
he's been in too much stuff.
too
He's a
much.
super huge Star Wars fan. He's a super cool guy.
Yeah.
Like he just deserves his own figure. And I almost put this at number one, but I think it's happening, and so I didn't want to not waste my points, but spend all the top points on that, knowing or thinking that he's probably coming out this year.
Well,
Hmm.
question, well,
Sure.
it could be toy related, but do we think, and spoiler alert if you are not caught up on skeleton crew. Do we think we see him in this last episode to kind of bring them into the Mandoverse, or Zeb?
That would be cool. I don't really
Would
feel
be
that's
cool.
spoilery, but
No.
no, I think that would be cool because we have seen New Republic X-wings appear twice now
Mm-hmm.
in Skeleton Crew,
Yep.
and it's, I mean, why not? It is still a big galaxy, but it's also still a pretty small galaxy as it turns out when it comes to reappearing characters.
Yeah.
But I think Carson Teva would be a welcome cameo. I'm still crossing my fingers, hoping maybe there's at least a mention of the actual greatest pirate. I don't know who this Tack Rennert is, but Hondo Onaka would be truly a great pirate, I think, to appear in or get mentioned in Skeleton Crew because
I'm surprised we haven't seen him.
pirate ever. I know.
Yeah. I
Where's
really thought we
Hondo?
were gonna get just even if all it was a walk on, single line, walk off. Like I thought we were gonna see him, but
Right.
maybe not.
Where's Hondo?
Yeah.
Where's Hondo?
Hashtag where's Hondo?
Where's Hondo?
I think one
And
last
then-
thing too, because I am an avid Young Jedi adventurer since I have a 2-year-old watcher. There is an old High Republic pirate out there that got jettisoned off by the kids. I was kind of hoping he would get a mention, or maybe it'd be him. I think it'd be pretty cool to put the kids, like literally he just had one episode, but very similar to how SM-33 got reactivated, and then he was just kind of on the menace of plundering and things of that sort. So I forgot his name off the top of my head, but he was on one episode, and I would love to at least hear a mention of him for those parents who watch that, or even those who keep up with the lore on that. So, anyways, we can
or if maybe Tabor got mentioned.
Oh, Tabor, yeah. Love that kid.
That'd be cool.
The little Nepo kid that's a pirate. Love that kid.
Yeah, or wants to be a pirate.
Spoiler alert for anyone who is going to watch that. He is a prince of a very wealthy planet. It's just hilarious to me.
As they
It's
are.
ruined.
As they are. Oh yeah. Young Jedi Adventures is actually pretty good.
Love that show.
I need to watch it. I haven't.
It's low key.
I totally took you off your groove there. We're at number 12 now.
You're all good, man. No worries.
Yeah, that's
Number
another really
12.
good one.
Must have.
Mhm.
I'm doing my best not to actually buy any of the because I don't collect it. I don't remember the name of the
Epic
5PO.
Hero Collection.
That one.
Yeah. I've also
frustrated.
pick him up.
Yeah, why? Guys, why are you doing this to us?
Yeah, why is that figure out in that line, but not in TVC or Black Series? That should have been in TVC and Black Series before it was a helmet in the props line. No offense, Chris. You know I love you, but that should have been in Black Series 6-inch scale on TVC first before.
Guys, 100%. I say this in good fun. You don't think all the kids were watching season 3 finale of Mandalorian and wanted this figure to play with? Come on, guys. How selfish.
I mean, like,
I think
on the quantity that's still shit on the shelves at my local stores, no.
No, you were totally right though. It's just it's kind of funny, like knowing what that 375 series is supposed to be. It's really supposed to be for the kids, right? Something's very super simple, but it's like, why Moth? Like, that was a very gruesome like encounter per se. Like, I'm sure, hopefully, well, I mean, some might, but I'm sure kids that are playing with that at that age probably don't know as well who that is, as opposed to the adults who collect the TVC. But I digress.
Now the
it's
way
very
they're
toyetic, though.
Right. Yeah, that's true. It is a cool toy, regardless if you know it or not. You're right.
The vehicles in that line are really cool.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I mean,
I agree.
For a kiddie budget line, think about back 10 years ago to like Mission Series and the Rebels when they really cut down on budget for vehicles. Some of those vehicles were just really rough. Like the Slave 1 from that line is just the worst. The Delta 7 Jedi Starfighter from that line, the ETA 2 Actis Interceptor from that line, terrible. Hot dog water. But the Mando's N1 Starfighter in that current 4-inch line right now where it has the engines that open up and have that big blue cool venting coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's super cool. I mean, play feature wise, that's cooler than the TVC in my opinion. But the TVC is great for
It is
accuracy
really cool.
and other stuff too, though. I love the TVC. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I saw a couple of those the other day at Ross for like $5, and I almost got one just to keep with the Mandoverse theme that I got going on. And
Mm,
but I stood in the line and was like, where am I going to put this thing? So I just ended up leaving it there,
that's
leaving,
the
which is
problem with
probably
Ross these days. You
uh,
you uh you go in there, you spend 5 seconds looking for what you're trying to find. You maybe find something else you might want, and then like 15, 20 minutes into standing into that dense line with only one cashier, you're like, do I really want this for $5 anymore? No.
nope. I've talked myself out of so much stuff in a Ross line lately. It's crazy.
Yeah. Just like, just please open 2 or 3 more lanes. Please.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of the vibe at Ross. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
Ross without a single checkout.
I don't need it.
Um,
Number 11
so
is the next one. Or well,
moving on
no,
to
I
11.
guess we're still not done talking about number 12. I guess we got off subject with the Epic Heroes line.
Yeah, true. Well, that is, I mean, it's just again, big bad with a dark saber. Mandalorian is kind of my main jam anyway. So when you combine all those things together, black suit, Mandalorian armor, I mean, it checks a whole lot of boxes for me. So I want that figure something awful.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to chuckle. Sean Crockett just commented that he walked out of a Ross today because of the line.
Really?
Yep.
Happens to the
Yeah. No,
best of us, man.
I totally agree with you on Gideon. Now, my question to you, because this is another hot topic in TVC right now:
Hmm.
removable helmet or swappable head?
Swappable head, 100%. Don't give me that oversized nonsense, please.
I
Okay.
don't know. They
And thank you.
promised on Sabine that it's going to be better, and they revealed
They
they
did.
did for. So it could
Mm.
be interesting to see what that actually looks like, and if
And,
it is
Yeah.
improving. If that's the case, what's your thoughts on that? Still
and
multiple
we
heads
know they
or?
can do it. They
Yeah.
have
They
done it in
can
the
do it.
past.
Yep.
Yes.
We know they can do it. So yeah, that's
And
I
the
think that's
animated
where people's frustration is we know it can happen.
the Mando, I mean, I'm sorry, what did I say that for? The HasLab version, like the animated version of Sabine, looks a lot better than the Ahsoka one, as far as the helmet's concerned, because it is actually sized a little bit better.
Hmm.
So, like you said, they can do it,
Yeah,
but so I don't know. Anytime there's a removable helmet, I am a little bit wary.
I'm a removable helmet guy.
Really?
Yeah, I even when it does look a little wonky, and I know sometimes it does, even in Black Series, I'm
Hmm.
still a
Oh
removable
yeah.
helmet guy because I enjoy being able to put it on or take it off and then seeing the face being there.
Hmm. Well,
It's something I've always liked, even when I was a kid.
I will say this. A few years ago, the removable helmet material was a little bit harder. And when they transitioned to the softer plastic, that's when they lost me.
Okay.
I
It
like the
does warp a
harder
little bit more
plastic.
with the softer
Exactly.
plastic, yeah.
Like I've had to replace two or three removable helmet characters, mainly in the Black Series. When I've ordered something, it's come in super like it got hot or something, and it's just too
Oh,
warped.
yeah.
And even after playing with it a little bit, you can't quite get it to work itself out. So I've had to send it back and exchange it. And I don't know. I mean, it's fine most of the time. I will agree with that, but I think I'd rather have removable or two separate pieces.
Erica said she agrees with me. Helmets all the way. All right.
You win, Bobby. You win.
Hey, it wasn't a competition. It was not a competition.
No, I'm just messing with you, man.
Okay. Your
Can we
number
move on?
11. Your number 11.
Yes.
That's actually a one that is on my list, assuming you went with the same armor choice I went with,
I
which is
went with
season 1.
one.
Uh,
Yes.
okay, it is the same
Yeah.
armor choice I went with. How
I
did
just
you
like
Pat,
that color scheme
you had
better.
an
how did you
interesting
list it?
note on this one though. If you wanted to expound on that, I remember yours.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
So my theory is, and it's both a good theory and a bad theory, depending on how you look at it. But
Okay.
I think that the next HasLab is going to be the Marauder with the entire Bad Batch crew.
See, that's what we thought before they announced the Cantina, though.
And I think they crammed the Cantina in because this is
Taking more
weren't
time.
they do what now?
Taking more time, maybe.
I think so. Yeah, it may have taken a little more time than they anticipated and skipped the line. But yeah, because you're absolutely right. I thought it was going to be the next one before the Cantina was announced too,
I mean,
and that's why I'm almost even more positive now that it's got to be right.
it's what kicked them in the gear to put out the Rebels crew. You know,
Yeah.
doing the Ghost is what made them finally put it out. Because before that, for literally literally a decade, Star Wars
Mhm.
fans have been saying we want the Ghost crew, we want the Spectres in TVC. Why aren't the
Yep.
Spectres in TVC? They were on everybody's lists up until that point the whole time, and um, yeah, with the Ghost coming for Ahsoka, they finally did it. And I'm with you. I'm kind of worried that that's what they're waiting on for the Bad Batch 2, but I don't necessarily feel like that's fair to TVC fans to have
I
to
agree.
back a HasLab to get figures they should already have in their line. The fact
Yeah,
that you guys only have Hunter is, in my
Stilly
opinion,
at this
just
point.
it's disrespectful.
Yeah,
It's disrespectful to the fans, I feel.
yeah.
It's just it and I don't feel like they did it because I don't think it's something to actually be upset about because I don't feel like they're doing it out of spite or
No,
doing it
certainly
to
not.
maximize profit or whatever like
Yeah,
some fans would probably argue. But it, the the point needs to be made that it's actually crazy that those characters aren't available in 3/3 scale period at this point.
yeah.
They should be in some form or
Agreed.
fashion, and they're not. The show is
Yeah,
done and has been.
yeah,
Those we shouldn't have waited until after the show to have not a full set of the main 6 characters in that scale when Black Series got 2 of each.
yeah. Exactly.
Like I can't complain.
Silly.
I got
Yeah,
2 of each of the Bad Batch, and they're great. They are. It's just Hasbro, please just shrink them a little bit.
just shrink them.
Shrink them.
So I had to include him, even though I am pretty. To your point, though, I 100% agree. It isn't fair. It is. I don't want to curse on stream, but it's poopy. I mean, like, it's just the worst. Um,
Oh man,
so
I'm so much
you're
happier that
absolutely
you
right,
didn't.
man. Do what now?
I'm so much happier that you didn't. It was way funnier the other way.
It's just bantha fodder or bantha poodoo.
Poodoo.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But I feel I still had to represent it on the list
Mhm.
just to get the point across.
Yep.
Hasbro, we really want these figures.
Yep.
So that's my representation of it. Even though it's only number 11, it represents the whole crew.
I mean, and again, keep in mind, I don't even collect TVC as my
Mhm.
main collection. I pick up a few figures here and there for my collection, but on the whole, I don't collect TVC, and that's on my list too.
Yeah,
In fact, when
everybody wants them.
little spoiler, they're all on there because
Nice.
they really should be in the line. Oh, yes,
I'm,
that
I'm starting to
dude,
reveal
yeah,
some more, by the way. So,
yeah.
Oh,
Some
you're
of
good. You're
those,
good.
yep.
So where
some
are
of
we up
those
to
really
now?
I'm
should be in
going
it.
10, 9, 8, 7, going to 6, and then we'll do top 5
Gotcha.
Yeah,
next.
dude,
So I keep looking up
full
because I
choices.
have my list on the other monitor above my screen. So I'm not just like trying to show everybody up my nose or
No,
anything.
you're good. No.
Anyway,
I'm just putting my phone in front of my screen, like it's like right here to the side, next
that's
to where I'm
probably the
looking at
best thing. But
the stream comments.
you guys are more professional than I am, so there's that too.
No,
We're figuring it out together. No, we're good.
I just like to keep up a
Fake
cheat
it till you
sheet.
make it, baby. So number 11, I'm sorry, number 10, Old Man Rex from Rebels. I
Pops.
want that. Gosh. Keeping with the Rebels theme, we just got the Ghost. Just really want an Old Man Rex. I love Rex. Everybody loves Rex.
Rex.
Why don't we? And especially, like, I almost bought the I forget what line it was from, but there is an Old Man Rex. It's like 5 POA or something. And I saw it the
Force
other
Awakens.
day, and I almost bought it, and then I put it back and circled. This was at ICC, I think. And I circled the floor, and by the time I came back, it was gone. So I've regretted it ever since. And of course, I just had to put it on my list. So
Force Awakens card back.
that's what it
the
was. Yes, yes. God, you know everything, Bobby. It's
Not
impressive,
everything.
really.
No, not
Bobby
everything.
Oh
Pedia.
no, man. Yeah, it's
Not
wow.
everything.
Every slip up, Bobby's like, well, actually, I'm like, oh, man, damn. So anyway, Old Man Rex, Pelly Motto would be my number 9. I feel like that's got to be an
That's.
inevitability at this point, right?
I kind of feel the same way about her. I feel about Carson Teva. It's
Yeah.
weird that she doesn't have a figure yet in either scale. We just got a droid pack in Black Series with a reissue of R5, a figure they just released. Like, they just released R5, and then they immediately re-released him with BD-72, Pelly's BD droid, and 2 of her pit droids, but no Pelly. Why was R5 in there, not Pelly? She should
Makes
be
no
in Black
sense.
Series and VC.
Yeah, agreed.
Well,
Especially
here's my thing,
since
real
she's
quick.
in multiple properties too.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
is anyone scared that with the new Mando movie coming out, obviously they're going to have their own line? Do they go put it on there instead, or how does that work out, right? Because they
Oh,
need figures of the line, right?
that's a good question. I didn't think
That
about
is a
that.
good question.
That's a
Maybe
good,
that's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
they're holding out. You know?
that could be
I
possible.
wonder, but I
That's a
wonder
good
if it'll
thought.
still be titled The Mandalorian, because I doubt the title's actually going to be Star Wars The
It's
Mandalorian.
Grogu the movie. Come on now,
You
catch
know.
up. Okay,
Actually, didn't they say it's just Mandalorian and Grogu? That's
Oh, I don't
It
know.
should just be
It,
Grogu the
it should be
movie. They
Grogu the
should just
movie.
drop the
Yeah,
Mandalorian.
well, I mean,
exactly.
that's what it's going to end up
Funny.
being, you know.
God,
But
that's too funny.
yeah.
Oh man.
But no,
Um,
definitely agree there. I mean, she covers a lot. She covers a lot of
Yeah, she does.
I mean, she
weird
some
shit.
Book of Boba Fett too, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Good Boba Fett. Yeah.
maybe we'll see her in Skeleton Crew. Who knows?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
doubt it, but
Would be
Next,
interesting.
next, Darth Malik.
another almost 20-year-old figure.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta put him with with
Gotta put
Revenant and yeah. And we got, like we talked about earlier, we got those kind of recently, the Revan and the 2-pack, and then the light side. Well, I guess do we have a light side Revan in finished collection yet?
Yeah,
I know we have one
that's
in
the one
Black
that
Series.
was.
Yeah,
That's the
definitely
one
Black
that was in the
Series.
2-pack.
Oh.
That's
Light-
right. It was the
light
light
side
side
Revan.
and the droid. Yes, yes,
47.
yes.
They
Yep.
released them for the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes mobile game.
That's right. Yep.
Packaging. And then
Everybody really
Revan
so
was
does.
released by himself as Darth Revan
Yes.
previously to that. But that's,
Yeah.
as far as KOTOR goes, it's those. Bastila from Phase 1 Black Series.
Mhm.
And actually, that's it.
I
Because
think that's it. Yeah.
Malgus is not KOTOR. A lot of people forget,
Mhm.
even though I see him on a lot of people's KOTOR list. Malgus is not KOTOR. He's from Star Wars: The Old
SWTOR.
Republic, not Knights of the Old Republic. They're 2 separate eras. Think of it like SWTOR is the sequel trilogy era to KOTOR, right? It's
It's
the
what,
next
300
one,
years, right? 300-year difference.
something like that.
Something
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
Quite a
in
big
the
difference.
grand scheme of the timeline, we don't really have an in between timeline for those at the moment. It's
Yeah.
But that is like the next one up. It's like KOTOR, then SWTOR, and then High Republic would be 200 years or 300 years before, and then Republic era, OT, sequel era.
Hmm.
From there on is going to be maybe the Rey movie, maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. I feel like it gets announced and canceled every other day.
Yeah.
We shall see. But anyway,
So yeah,
continuing on with
yes.
from a Darth to a Darth. I want a Revenge of the Sith Palpatine.
Now, re-release or a new, are we talking new sculpt, new outfit? Because we do have a Revenge of the Sith Darth Sidious in VC.
I was
It is
also
a
gonna
good
ask
one.
what stage too, like fully deformed or like how are we?
Maybe a combo,
Right.
like where he
I
comes with like swappable head,
Swappable
like that
head?
one.
actually
Ooh,
that
How
that'd
would
be
be
more
back
awesome.
deluxe,
back in
Yeah,
the
if
right?
it was
day.
a combo.
That'd be more of a
They
deluxe
did
Yeah,
that.
figure
so maybe
form,
this
right?
should be a deluxe version with a couple different looks. I like that
Or
idea,
both.
but no, the one I intended was the arrest version.
Mm.
That was kind of the one I had in
Oh,
my
okay.
in my
So
mind's eye. But
like where he just got deformed.
exactly,
Okay.
yes,
So where he's
yes,
wearing the like kind of burgundy
burgundy.
gown.
Yep,
Okay. Okay, I know which one you're
that's
talking
kind
about.
of the one I
That'd
was
be a
thinking.
cool one
That
because
would be neat.
they released that outfit a lot in the Revenge of the Sith toy line.
Hmm.
Now, not a lot of those figures are particularly great,
I have a couple of
which
them.
is
They're not
why
great.
I'm inclined to agree. I feel like that
Yeah,
version would be really cool because the
yeah.
image Dante chose looks more like the where they dueled in the Senate with Yoda,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we did get that figure in particular. We did get that outfit in TVC, and it's a good one. It
How
is a
old is
really
it?
good
I
one.
don't even know. I don't have
That
an open
figure
version
is
of
at
that one
least
actually.
10 years old. That figure
Okay.
is at least 10 years old because
Well, I
that
mean,
figure came out in Phase One. So that one's due
could the
for
argument still be made it needs to be updated a little bit, or
yeah. Why not?
perhaps?
Why not? Yeah.
Well, that's my main argument for the next one, Obi-Wan. If
I
we're
agree.
getting a brand new Revenge of the Sith Anakin, we
Vader.
really need or yes, sorry, Vader. We need his brother. So,
Yes, we do.
and Obi-Wan's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Star Wars characters. So, of course, I just gotta put Obi at the top of the list. Gotta represent
I
Team
I
Obi.
know I know some older fans will disagree because for them
Hmm.
it's old Ben that's the most iconic, but for me it was really and not Phantom Menace and not Attack of the Clones. It was Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan became truly that guy for me.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. He really is. He's one of the greatest.
He
Just to
was
make sure, hold on,
ever
wait,
since.
because I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
update your graphic. Were we talking
Mhm.
about it's treason then? Sidious?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so before
Yes.
the force lighting. Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna
Ooh.
update that real time.
Yes.
Keep talking.
Well, the outfit he's wearing during that, I think he was saying
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
post deformity, but
Yep.
in that fit.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Understand.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did I have that right, Pat?
You did.
Okay, yeah. So like where think when he's on his back, no, you have the power.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That's what I want. Exactly.
Yeah.
And an honorable mention, it's not on my list, but would be a new mace, because that mace we got is not great right now.
I don't. The thing I dislike the most about that mace. Also, his outfit color is a little bit different in Revenge of the Sith, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's the saber color. I don't. It's the saber color I don't love about the
Mhm.
re-release for VC Mace. It's too dark of a purple. It's more violet than
It
purple,
is. Yeah.
and his saber color is bright purple, not violet. So
Yeah.
that did kind of bug me about that one.
But that
Updated outfit, Revenge of the Sith with the proper color saber would be cool.
would be nice. For me, these days, it's more about just the articulation or lack thereof on some of the older
Yeah.
figures, and when you can make a brand new figure make natural poses, it's just, I don't know. It's real hard to go back. So
Look,
anyway,
Dante's fixing your image for you.
thank you,
That's
Dante. I
that
appreciate
that's
that.
it.
I will send it
Nailed it.
a updated
See, I
one
can't
for you
see what
too.
you guys are seeing, so
You
oh
wait, you're
well.
not watching the stream too? I have the stream going and our
This is the
conversation.
first time I've done this with you guys, so I'm that's why I said you guys are way more professional than I am.
I
I don't
wouldn't
know
say
what
that.
I'm doing,
We'll,
man.
we'll,
I'm
we'll
just
we'll get
here.
you.
I'm
We'll
just
get you
chilling. I'm just
acclimated.
hanging.
Don't worry. Don't worry. It's all right.
We'll
It's
do
all
more
Next
of
right.
time.
these. These are fun. This is actually
Yeah.
really fun. So
Oh,
we'll
I'm
figure it
having a
out.
blast.
Yeah,
Having
man.
a blast for sure. That Palpatine, dude, you found the best image. You found the best
I
image
wish
for
I could see it. Text it to me, Tommy.
I got you.
Now I'm like, damn it, I want to see it.
Yeah.
Oh man. So well,
Uh,
anyway, while he's doing that,
what? Yeah.
Ezra,
What are
have you
your?
have you moved
Oh,
on to
okay.
my
No, no,
top
no, no.
five
I
yet?
get
Or
you. I'm gonna do it
oh,
one at a time
oh,
now. Since we're top five, I'm gonna do one at a time. So I'll do
okay.
five.
Oh, okay. So Ezra apparently is 5. I hope it's Ahsoka Ezra because
Oh,
that's a. Oh, it's not.
oh.
Oh, okay.
Kid Ezra.
Rebels
I
Season 1,
originally
2 Ezra.
had the
Little
Ahsoka
bratty
Ezra on
Ezra.
there,
That's the one
but
I've got in my Ghost right now.
I want the snotty little, not even a Padawan Ezra
Okay.
at first. I have that, a 5PUA version of that just
Mhm.
doesn't look great. And, well, we got the Ghost. We have a good version of Ezra, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm very much like, this is a great figure.
It is a good figure.
Um,
Yeah.
I want to see the animated version. So, like, we got a Sabine and a live action Sabine. Just give me the animated Ezra, please.
Yep.
And thank
With
you.
you. Yep.
Um,
I am going to reveal for
Next,
just a moment,
yeah.
and it
What's going
is
on, Nemo?
revealed.
So
Boom.
earlier when I mentioned the stranger
Ah,
having a
yes.
little bit of a tie,
Yes.
this is what I was getting at.
That's
So
another one.
I
Yeah.
I'd love to see a Plagueis. I know that there's a Plagueis Black series that's 3 3/4.
Mhm.
I don't have. I can't pay $200 for it, so it's like a carded version. I think is going for about 150, something like that, $200. Just the figure itself is about 70, 75. I just think it's time. I know that Acolyte got canceled and people didn't like it and all that fun jazz, but
I would say
Plagueis is
non-renewed.
important.
I would say non-renewed. I think a lot
No,
of headlines
that's
use
fair.
that word to be uh, click heavy, but
Yes,
it could be revisited. From a lot from what we
there's
saw,
going to be a book supposedly,
it could
right?
Well,
it might be. It
Yeah,
also could age really well, depending on a few things coming out pretty soon. So,
right.
who
fair,
knows?
fair.
Maybe the figures could reinvigorate some love. That's I was looking at your list and I loved it. And I was like, hopefully, someone who watched it with an open mind and loved it for what we had, what we received from
Hmm.
it, as which is number 25 and number 4.
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of room to be like, hey, let's release these figures and see what happens. Like, let's see what the future of it is. Maybe it's 5 years down the road. Maybe it's 10 years down the road. Because um, I watch a lot of Star Wars Explained, and they did a lot of
Nice.
theory crafting of saying, well, what if they do it? It just jumps like 10 years or jumps like 5 years. It's not the same characters, but it follows another
Right.
acolyte in general, right? And it's cheaper because
Mm.
really the only
Mm.
problem we really saw from what the Disney exec said was really the cost didn't justify the viewership, right? So if
Yeah.
they can make it cheaper, it could make a comeback. Who knows, right? But that's just me being a
Yeah,
little
that's a good
optimistic,
point.
and it could be interesting, right? Because
Yeah.
maybe we get I don't know. Here's what I'm thinking too. I just thought about this today. Do we get oh, what's that short series? And now I'm like blanking on it now that I'm live. Tales of, right?
Oh,
Tales of the
Tales.
Dark
Yeah,
Tales
yeah,
Side,
of
yeah.
the.
right? And then
Yeah.
we get
Hmm.
a little of, a little Chimera slash a stranger, in that
That's a good
aspect of it,
point.
right? What if we
Yeah.
get
No, I
like
like
two
that.
episodes of that, and they're like, all right, let's see what it does.
Or just
Let's see how
Yeah.
interested people are in this storyline, and then maybe it rolls
Interesting.
with something like that, right? But that's just
Yeah.
me. That's just me being the optimist in it. But yeah,
I
I
no
like that idea. I'm
I
game.
totally agree with that too. That sounds pretty great. That's
and bring
Yeah.
Manny
gonna
back
take the half
to
of that.
voice it. He's all
Yes.
for it. I met
Yes.
him. He
Yes.
loves the character. He loves everything about it, and he's a
I
big
also love the
cheerleader
character.
for it all. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
He was so great
yeah.
in that show. The stranger was one of the most interesting villains we got recently, in my opinion, especially in his way of just being different personalities. Just turning on the dopey, poor
Hmm.
apothecary, don't hurt me guy. I'm just an innocent
Well,
dude.
it's more like a Jekyll and
To
Hyde if you think about it.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
that's what it was, right? It's like two
to
different
just
entities.
like Sith Lord, and it's like whoa, you know, and the way he was just taken out so many Jedi, and partially because, and it goes back to what Dooku said to Grievous when he was training him. The only way to defeat a Jedi is to have surprise as your ally. Surprise and intimidation. Because if any one of these is lacking, you would do best to retreat. Which is
Mm.
why when a battle would turn, Grievous would hightail it because once a Jedi would, catch their footing, so to speak, with them, that's it. Then they're
Yeah.
just fighting a cyborg at that point, and they're a Jedi. They're gonna, like every time Obi-Wan would figure him out, Grievous would run until he couldn't anymore in Revenge of the Sith. So, um, for Chimere, the same example applies because none of those Jedi were expecting anything, much less a Sith, to appear and just start taking them out. And when you've been living for hundreds of years at that point, almost 1,000, having not officially encountered a Sith, because again, they hadn't officially encountered a
Seen one,
Sith
yeah.
per Ki-Adi-Mundi's statement in The Phantom Menace.
Mhm.
What do you do? You're completely caught off guard, caught by surprise by an
Practice is
unknown
way
entity
different
who's
than the real thing, right? Like,
You get turned
incredibly
into
powerful.
Swiss cheese is what happens.
Exactly.
belly button
Exactly.
pierces
So,
everywhere,
Yeah,
oh,
right.
and chiropractic,
exactly.
visits, right?
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was
Exactly.
brutal.
I
It
think
was,
the last thing I'll say, and then Pat, we'll give you your time back on four.
yes.
Oh, you
From
did.
the marketing and business perspective of it, they spent way too much
Hmm.
money just to let all of it die. I think,
Yes, they
and
did.
Yeah.
especially to relegate such a big figure as not action figure, but figure as Plagueis, something everyone's been clamoring for in canon. I feel like it
Hmm.
has to happen in some of the ways that I said, unless
Yeah.
they're okay with the investment lost in general. And that's just
Right.
again, that's just the marketing and me talking. Uh,
And I doubt it.
but yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be very meticulously done. I don't think we'll see every single character, but I think 4 and 25, the two we see here, they're the two most compelling. I don't think anyone has a issue with that, saying that, regardless of how you thought of the series.
Yeah.
It's you kind of something has to happen that's not in the books with those two, and I would love to see like a even Tales of the High Republic, right?
Yes. That'd
Um,
be cool.
Yeah.
that would be
You can
cool
do that.
overall because we haven't. If you don't want to dedicate like actual like people and funding that money, cool. Let's get animation. Animation solves everything when it comes to Star Wars, which is kind of funny how that
Yeah.
works out. But I
Yep.
digress. But Pat, I'll let you hop back in
No,
for four.
I agree. Well, I'll go ahead and move on for four because we have talked about it,
Okay,
and I think we unanimously agree that everybody wants a Plagueis, right?
amazing pick.
Like everybody
Amazing
wants
pick.
Yep.
Plagueis.
Great
I'm
pick.
gonna finding three right
Um,
now. One moment.
so you can go ahead and honestly, you can do the top three at the same time, I
Let me
think,
do
because
three
they
and two.
they are all related. Okay, sure.
Let me do three and two, and then you could go one.
Okay.
Oh, there's
So
three
I've
and two.
professed my love for Heir to the Empire earlier in the
Mm,
stream, and it is going to fully come to fruition here at the end.
I can
I
see
just
that.
just reread, or actually, I listened to the audiobooks of the trilogy. Mark Thompson does an amazing job. If you guys haven't read him before, please go listen to him. He does every single voice, and it's just he's incredible. Um, Anyway, I want a generic Nogri, much in the same way that I mentioned, a generic clone commando. I feel like it'd be a good way to get something to build off of. So give us a Nogri, and then we can get a Rook and a Kabarak, maybe a little bit further down the line, or even like a four pack, like a troop builder pack of uh, commandos would be incredible. So
That would be cool.
it'd be
No,
very cool.
I'm honestly surprised with as much as the Nogri have been in Star Wars. I mean, more legends than canon at this point.
Sure. Yeah. But they're in
Uh,
canon.
it's really surprising that we don't have any figures of them, and they've made appearances in not just books, but and Star Wars Rebels,
Hmm.
um, but comics outside of the books that they appeared in, video games,
Hmm.
and just about every form of Star Wars media at this point. So it is incredibly strange that we don't have a single Nogri figure in any scale that I can think of.
I almost made that my number one, but I felt like if I did that, well, my number one still is my number one for a reason. But I didn't want to put a generic figure as my number one, even though
That makes
it's
sense.
pretty far to to the top. But
Yeah.
But following along with that, we just got the Heir to the Empire 3-pack, which I heard somewhere, I forget who told me this, but basically it was, oh yeah, Mara Jade was supposed to be in that 3-pack, but then they swapped it out for Pelion. I don't know how true that is or not, but I feel like
Mm,
we got that 3-pack. We're probably going to get another 2 or 3-pack of
yeah.
the additional characters. So, but just her on a single carded figure would be amazing.
I mean that
Especially since
third.
she.
Oh, good,
Oh,
Bobby.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, well, especially since she already has 3 figures in 3/4 scale already.
Hmm.
So the fact that none of them have at least accidentally been re-released on VC in a special action figure set, since we brought that up earlier,
Yeah.
or one of those carded packs. At least the Black Series Phase 1 carded release with an updated face, because to be honest, that's actually my least favorite Mara figure in 3/4 scale. But
Yeah.
um, it is strange, yeah, that she doesn't have a dedicated VC release. She probably, I would be willing to bet, was slated for VC before she got put out on Black Series Phase 1 card.
Hmm.
But then, the line got canceled, so that's why she got put on Black Series Phase 1 card, most likely.
Yeah. That's probably fair. That's probably fair.
Yeah,
But
I would say
again, like I kind of
real quick,
go
Pellegrini, I would say
ahead.
he was probably strategically put in to obviously probably be reissued since the likeness was towards the live action,
Yeah.
correct? So,
Yep.
That is fair.
but
That
in
is
Yep.
fair.
addition
Because
to
they,
that,
they do have to pay for that kind of thing
yeah, I mean
for
it'll be a
likeness
repack.
rights.
We'll see it in a repack, right?
Yep.
Which is fine.
Hmm.
Different card back, obviously, but I feel like Mara in general deserves her own release. I feel like she's that type of aura. She's the aura, right? To her in
Yeah.
general. So I feel like people won't mind. But
Yeah.
cool. And
And
I'm
I
never.
didn't include Luke because we already have so many versions of Luke that
Mhm.
can be a good stand-in for that. I'm fine with
Yeah.
the 5 or 6 that I have to choose from iteration wise, to sit on that Heir of the Empire shelf. No big deal.
Plus, some of his
Um,
outfits in Heir of the Empire just Jedi Luke. So,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Nice and simple.
Yeah.
But
They luckily Legends had a lot of consistency with Luke's outfit. He liked the black outfit a lot from Return of the Jedi
me too, though.
going
So
forward. I
yeah,
I'm with you. It's a good
yeah,
outfit. It really is.
All right,
it's my favorite. I
I'm
mean,
gonna
just
reveal
all
one.
black in general. I know it was the tease back in the day, but oh, is he a dark side now? But I just always prefer that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the his Empire look too, but the all black robes just does it for me.
Oh no, his all black robes is definitely peak in the OT. Definitely. Yeah.
I revealed one, by the way.
Ah, so
Oh,
one.
uh,
Yeah,
that's a good choice. That's
I
an
think
interesting
so.
number one. That's a real interesting. Like that's a very what's the word? Oh crap. Where is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, the thesaurus coming
Um,
out.
I
I wouldn't say controversial, but maybe
no, not
slept on.
controversial. Yes,
Yeah,
or
That
obscure.
works. Yeah, yeah.
definitely
Obscure. That's
sleeper.
the
Yeah.
word.
Sure, sure.
Sleeper. Sleeper's good. I
But
like that.
he's so important to Air, and like I said, I just kind of
He's
reread it
important to the whole
again,
trilogy.
and oh yeah, that's what I meant, the Heir to the Empire trilogy. But
Yeah, he's integral in the whole thing, and in stories after that too.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
he's a big character. At least he did get a figure though, in three
he
quarter.
does, yeah. There's a what is it, a comic 2-pack or something like that, where it's him and
Yeah.
Thrawn.
Mhm.
Yeah,
In fact, I've got
it's a
one.
cool one. Oh yeah.
Got one right here, actually. Y'all are probably looking at my
A little
my
belly
awesome
shot, but
shirt.
it's a pretty cool shirt though.
Oh, nice,
A really
Little,
cool shirt.
it'd be great for celebration. Oh, there you go.
nice. Yes, I gotta get one of those.
Yeah. I still need to get this one signed. It's one of very few carded Thrawn pieces that I don't have signed by Timothy Zahn.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a cool one to get signed. But anyway, so Talon Card's my number one. I especially after rereading it again, I just really want an Heir to the Empire shelf. we have a lot of stuff coming out in TBC. We've had a lot of stuff come out recently for Black Series. I just think it's time. So
Bef-
talent card #1.
Before we get to actual honorable mentions,
Mhm.
um, in that same vein, an updated Space Trooper from Heir of
Yeah,
the Empire and TVC would be cool.
that would be cool. I'm game for any trooper to be updated. So
Yeah, me
or
too.
just any trooper
No,
generally speaking. But
wait for
yeah,
Bobby's list. That's a little spoiler, but
Oh,
yeah,
Herrero.
yeah.
no Space Trooper though. There isn't
Oh,
a
okay,
Space
okay.
Trooper in there, but there are some really cool troopers. I think I'm gonna surprise a lot of people with my list. There's a lot more, shall we say, clones on my
Mm.
list than I think anybody would have expected. But I want to preface my list with, um, this year is the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith and the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens. Revenge of the Sith is my #1 favorite Star Wars movie, period. And I also really like The Force Awakens a lot too. It's not my favorite, it's not in my top 3, but it's still one of my favorite Star Wars
It's
movies. So,
appreciated, especially
yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you were like an actual adult during that time. 'Cause I
yeah,
Pat, you're millennial, right? And
I
I think
am, yes.
Bobby, you're early or late Gen Z,
I'm
older of the Gen Z
late
now.
late millennial, I
Oh,
think.
you're okay. You're baby
Like
millennial.
tail end,
Well,
like last out, I think.
the last time we had one in theaters, it was prequels, right? And we were kids at that point, or maybe teen. Patrick, I really don't know how old you are. You look great for your age if you're older than
Oh,
35. But
thanks. I'm 35. Yeah.
oh, really?
You
Yeah. If
nailed
you're,
it.
I would
Actually,
say if you're
perfect.
older than 35, yeah,
You're
you look.
older. You're older than I thought you were.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But like,
That's
so
good and bad, I guess. I ate like a 50-year-old, if that counts.
How's that?
so
How's
Patrick's
that?
part is more teen on the teenage side, as I say then. More like
Yeah.
10 to like 15ish. I don't know math
Was
right now.
10. Yeah.
Oh
I was
yeah,
nine.
yeah. So,
That's exactly it. Yeah, man.
yeah. So I mean
I'll never forget it.
that like episode 7 was like big. I would say especially for millennials or old Gen Zs because it was like this is it. We finally get to see it in the theaters as adults, and maybe we went a little too crazy
Yep.
on the line when it came out, or maybe we camped out for those when it came out, and
Went
there was
hard.
just like
Yeah.
this like excitement towards it, regardless of what we got in the movie. Um, it was an exciting
I
time,
miss that.
right? So I think
I miss
yeah,
just the unification of it all. Like the fact
yeah,
that
Right.
everyone was excited,
Yeah.
it was a
I
and
buzz. Yeah,
it's missing now.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
podcasts and YouTube's ruined it, but I digress there. But anyway.
I'm not gonna disagree,
Well, maybe
but
we can
here
talk
we are podcasting. So are we ruining it too?
No,
Well,
I think we're
we're not gonna
putting
make
the
20
positive.
videos on the same
I'm
subject,
kidding.
so anyways.
I'm kidding. I know exactly what you're getting at.
um, but no, it's a good segue though to Bobby's list. But before we get off Bobby's list, Pat, do you have any now that all 25 are showed off? Any last words you have for your list? And obviously you'll be posting in your socials, Turntable to the Dark Side, of course, and you'll
I will.
obviously be seeing it on ours. But any last words there before we have two honorable mentions? I guess.
Well, let's save our honorable mentions
Oh, you want to do it at the
for
end?
after
Then
our
I think we
list.
could do
Yeah,
one
yeah,
Yeah, we
like
yeah.
can do that.
because
We'll
I think
we'll
there's
circle
two, right?
we'll
There's
circle
a
back to honorable mentions.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yep, Pat,
Yeah, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
leave the floor to
I
you
have a
then.
whole list of those too. I'll be
Yeah, I was
honest with you
about to
guys. I
say.
came up with like 35 or 40 figures and then
I
had to
was about
narrow
to
it down
say.
to the
Yeah.
25. So
Right.
I got plenty of extra ones.
Same here. I didn't do a ton of single carded. Like after I finished my 25 and did like a few extras that I just like it really wanted. I mean, some of the ones I would have said are on your list too, so that's great.
Mhm.
Um, but I started doing like my honorable mentions is going to go into deluxes since the 25 is just single carded figures, small scale vehicles, regular vehicles like starfighters and stuff, things like that. So
I was gonna say, do you want to do vehicles or deluxe now, and then the one you don't do after yours, just so
no,
can break it up? You do
I
it all at once.
I say I say let's finish our 25s first,
Okay.
and then we'll do
Yeah, I
on
want to
the
hear his list.
bigger
Cool.
scales.
All right, that
Yeah.
works. All right,
Yeah.
Pat, floor is yours then for any last words, at least for the stream. Obviously not for you're very active on social, so that discussion won't end. But yeah,
Try.
Well, not final last words because you
yeah,
still got
well,
your
yeah, just
hit
for the
after.
list as it goes away to go to
Yeah.
yours. Yep.
Well, I mean, just like I said, I did have a harder time than I originally thought I would, narrowing it down to 25. I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, 25 is a pretty decent amount. It shouldn't be too difficult, but I mean, I'm looking at my honorable mention list now, and half of them are ones that I know for a fact were very high on last year's list or the year before that. And by list, I mean uh, SWTVC's actual bracket towards the end. So, like,
Mm.
I'll just say one of them, Ponkrell. I think it won last year. Do I want that figure? Yes. Do I? Is it in my top five? Like, it's like 27. But so, so I still want it. But sacrifices had to be made,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah, I agree. The challenge is not getting to 25 or getting up to 25. It's getting down to 25.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. I'd have a
That's it.
harder time in Black Series, but there's just so much stuff missing from Vintage Collection.
See, everybody says that, but I feel like the same argument can be made either way. Because while there
That
are a
is
bunch
fair.
of characters that are in Black Series that aren't in TVC, there's
Mhm.
also an equal amount, if not slightly more or less, the other way around. Because there's like
Yeah.
so many Cantina characters and background aliens that are in TVC that will probably never see the light of day in Black Series, or at least not for a long while.
Yeah, we finally got
So
We
Hammerhead
got
right in Black
Hammerhead pretty
Series.
recently, though. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been
I know
that's the
So
first
maybe
one
we're
though,
moving in
right,
the right
Bobby?
direction.
Took forever.
that's right, but that's what I'm saying. Like how
Yeah.
many years did it take to get Hammerhead in 3/4 scale? He
Yeah.
was he was a year one figure, then he got an updated figure in Power of the Force 2, then in Saga Collection 2006. Now he's finally getting TVC, but he's getting his first 6-inch scale figure, and 6-inch
Hmm.
scale has been going for 12 years now. We're on year 12 currently. So out of 12 years, he's finally getting one. And across 45 almost years of 3/4 scale, you got almost 4 or 5. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. Is
No, that's fair. That's definitely fair.
ratio, like we did finally get them, but ratio wise, it's like 3/3. You guys have been eating so much more than you realize. The same, the same.
Probably not as
That's
recently
fair.
though, because I think it
Not
did
as
flip.
Definitely
Yeah,
not
it
as recent.
flipped for
It did
sure.
flip.
Yeah.
They're
It
feeding
did
Black
flip.
Series now,
Yes, it did.
so I think they're
They are
making up
They
feeding
for it.
Black
This
definitely
is
are.
Series.
reparations, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they are actually legitimately trying to balance it more recently with the last couple VC announcements. So
I do too.
maybe the tide's turning.
I as long as they're putting figures in VC and Black Series, I'm happy because those are the two greatest toy lines in my opinion.
They're certainly my favorite.
Mine too.
All right. Well, that's the final words for Pat's list. Pat will stay with us to react to Bobby's.
Yes,
Bobby, we're gonna
please.
go into yours. You
Let's see.
obviously
Why
have
don't you show
a.
me first six actually, because we already talked about at least one of them.
Okay, yeah, I'll do the top six. I'll have to, but I will reveal
Because
it
my
now.
my 24 is Patrick's number 11.
Very
I
nice.
use a different picture for yours, though. I will say.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, you could.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see which
Yeah.
one you did.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
nice. I
Yeah.
like the helmet on more anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
The helmet on guy. Put that bucket on. This is the way. Okay. My first six is we're just gonna do these ones real quick because we already harped on this so much. It's the other five members of the Bad Batch that we're missing because we already have Hunter in his Republic gear, as I'm calling it, but we don't have Tech, Crosshair, Echo, Omega, or Wrecker yet, and we definitely and totally should have them in 3/4 scale. Now, I went a little step further, talking about packaging. I would like to see them packaged as quote, Echo Republic gear because this is while they're still in their Republic gear in season 7 of Clone Wars, with the exception of Echo, and season
Mhm.
1 of the Bad Batch. They're still wearing that Republic gear, with the exception of Crosshair, who transitions in the first episode to his Imperial gear. And then, of course, we'll just quickly honorable mention. There should be an Imperial Crosshair later on too, right? Um,
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, having the label on the card back, I think is really cool too. We see it all the time on certain figures where if we're getting another version of them later, or maybe we might get another version or another outfit for that character later, we have that notated as to what it is. And I think
Mhm.
separating by saying Republic gear, and then if we're lucky and we do get the season 2, season 3 versions of them, they label it as mercenary gear, much like they did for the Black Series releases.
Yeah.
Not to get too far off, because I was thinking about that as I was editing your KB at Atten Black Series, not Vintage Series, or not Vintage Collection. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously, we're going to see more of that of those variations in general, since there's that delineation. So, very
Possibly,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, it seems like it.
very
Usually, when they do
possibly.
that, it's means there's more to come. But anyways,
Mm. So let's go. Yeah, let's go ahead and do my next five.
oh,
20
I got 20
through
for you.
16, I guess.
Yeah, I'll get the rest, but you can talk about 20.
Yeah. So Snap Wexley, Tenem Wexley. Tenem Wexley keeps popping
Mm.
up in Star Wars. He just popped up again as a C, I guess, like a C level type character, tertiary type character in Star Wars Outlaws. And he ended up being pretty integral to the main quest at the end of the game, too. If you haven't checked out any of our playthrough of that, both Dante and I contributed streaming gameplay content of the story content to Star Wars Outlaws on rebelscum.com here on Meta. I think some of that might be over on YouTube. Is it, Dante?
I do not think so, but we can
Oh,
figure
okay.
that out.
We can get that over there eventually. Anyway, yeah, Snap Wexley, he's been around since at least The Force Awakens. He's also a pretty main character, or well, the secondary-ish main character in the Aftermath trilogy as well, which introduced the infamous droid Mr. Bones that we all know and love, who's not on my list. He should be on my list. But again, I was Force Awakens, Revenge of the Sith mentality for this list. So Snap Wexley, 10 years of Force Awakens. We have a Snap Wexley figure in 3/3 scale that was released in the Force Awakens line in a 2-pack with a First Order Snowtrooper. And that 5 POA figure doesn't really, it's not based off of his fake likeness so much as his Porkins likeness, unfortunately. And for someone who's been in Star Wars as long, I feel like it's strange we don't have a figure of him. Plus, it'd be a good excuse to reissue that T-70 X-wing mold we got for the Rise of Skywalker in gray and blue. If
Mm.
they don't want to do that for Poe Dameron, which who knows, maybe. Um, Number 19, the Flame Trooper. The First
Nice.
Order Flame Trooper is easily one of the coolest units of the First Order. Who says war crimes isn't fun? Definitely not me, because war crimes
Not
are
Pepper.
fun. If you've played Star Wars Battlefront 2, why we outlawed flamethrowers is beyond me, because they rock. Um, the Flame Trooper, just, it's such a cool kit. I love how smooth it is. I love the visor of it. And the fact that we still don't have a fully articulated one in 3/3 scale is crazy to me as well. Because we have it in Black Series 6-inch scale. We got a kind of fully articulated die-cast Disney Elite figure. Figured that
Ooh,
one out.
what a throwback!
But
What a
but not
throwback to that.
but not in three
I
Wow.
three
have
quarter
that
scale.
one actually.
But not in 3/3 scale. We only have 5 POA. So get the dang Flame Trooper on a Force Awakens card in VC, please. A new Ray. Ray needs an updated face in TVC because they just repacked the Black Series Phase 3 one. And I'm not necessarily, I didn't, and I appreciate that Dante went with Starkiller base for the picture of this one, because I didn't want to necessarily go with Ray Jakku like we already did.
Scavenger
Um,
Mhm.
Ray.
Scavenger Ray is fine, or even Ray Starkiller base, where maybe they do some snow on the figure like they did with the Kmart Black Series
Ooh.
one would be cool.
Yep.
Because looking at the picture you chose for 17, what I went with was Kylo Ren unmasked, specifically on
Mm.
Force Awakens card. Um, I would love to get a Ben. Ben's not on my list, but Kylo Ren unmasked is, because, again, weird that we don't have a fully articulated Kylo figure or Ben figure in 3/3 scale with Kylo Unmasked. I mean, we have them in 3/3 scale. They did get released in the Force Awakens line with Adam Driver's likeness, and it's honestly
Ish.
not too bad, but it needs to be in TVC also.
Yeah.
Number 16, BB-8 needs to be on a single card in TVC already. Another weird main
Thought about that.
character that's not on TVC card back. He's on Disney Droid Factory card back. He got released at Disney Parks, but I wish we would get away from this releasing really cool droids in 3/3 scale exclusively at Disney Parks when they're not specifically like a Disney Parks character, you know? Like if it's a Disney Parks character, that's fine. That makes sense. But Forlom, BB-8, Chopper should not be Disney Parks exclusives on a Kenner style card back in 3/3 scale. They should be in the TVC line in mass retail. And the fact that a main character who is as popular and has as much product and merch as BB-8 does in Star Wars,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, how many Grogu releases do we get?
right?
We don't have a single one on of BB. That's definitely a good
But
point.
yeah, BB-8 is super popular. He's
Yeah.
a really cool droid. He should be on a TVC card, and it definitely should start with The Force Awakens, in my opinion.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'm starting to reveal 15 through 11.
Okay, so this is when I was teasing another good excuse for reissuing that T-70 X-wing mold in gray and blue. Poe Dameron Jakku. We got Poe Dameron on the Rise of Skywalker card, and for the first time ever, a good likeness of Oscar Isaacs in action figure form from Hasbro. I would love to see that again in TVC, but in the leather jacket that we first see him in The Force Awakens, because that's my favorite Poe fit. And it'd be cool to get him in a kind of regular casual wear, fully articulated figure instead of just fully articulated flight suit Poe Damerons, because that's really all we got. The other Poes, or this version of Poe in particular, does exist in 3/3 scale. It did get released in the Force Awakens toy line, but again, it's only 5 POA. So getting it fully articulated would be so great. And then we've got 2 more Force Awakens picks for the 10th anniversary of the Force Awakens, and that's General Leia and Old Man Han. Old Man Han needs an update.
Nice.
Right now, we only have one fully articulated version of him in 3/3 scale, and that's in his Starkiller base parka. So, if I picked this one just because I wanted to kind of take it easy with Han, and it already exists in the line. Just update the face and put it on a card back, Hasbro. Make it easy on yourself on that one. And then with General Leia, we got General Leia in 6-inch scale. We have a fully articulated General Leia in 3/3 scale, but I don't like the blue dress as much. I don't necessarily want to see that recarded on TVC card for my sequel trilogy Leia before we get her in at least the general outfit we see her in when she first makes her appearance in The Force Awakens, because that felt like a more natural direction for that character than seeing her in a gown again in The Last Jedi, in my opinion. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
No, I agree. Absolutely.
Especially the way she behaves in the Aftermath trilogy, her appearance in Star Wars Battlefront 2, her appearance in the comics, more suggest her being like she was in The Force Awakens rather than The Last Jedi. Just throwing that out there. Revenge of the Sith. My first 2 picks for Revenge of the Sith here are video game picks. And this is probably where it's going to kind of start to catch people by surprise or unexpected.
Or maybe people don't know, right? It's kind of similar to Pat's of like Legends. Right. I don't know what the heck. Video games. I don't know what the heck. Right.
So, what are those?
Hasbro does gaming greats in Black Series and TVC. Why not video game adaptations of the movies? Why not a TVC gaming greats B2 grapple droid from the Revenge of the Sith video game. They could do either version, the blue version or the red version, or both. Why not? They could do the red version as an exclusive somewhere. Why not? I originally had B2 Super Battle Droid with an updated mold on my list just because I was being selfish and I really want an updated B2 Super Battle Droid in 3 3/4 scale because we really need one. That's another really outdated mold. But a B2 grapple droid would also solve that because it's just a B2 with pincers on the forearms and updated shoulder padding, and then after that it's pretty much just a repaint for the most part. So, they would be tooling a new mold for a B2 anyway. Plus, it'd be cooler to start with something that catches fans by surprise, something that's from left field and unexpected, but still super really cool that maybe they just didn't know existed, like Dante said, or forgot existed, and we're like, oh yeah, I played that. Yeah, that would be a really cool figure. Yeah. And same goes for number 11, my first clone pick, the Clone Assassin, also from the Revenge of the Sith video game. This thing looks so awesome. It's your regular Phase 2 Bark Clone Trooper kit, but with the assassin blades that flip down from their arms because they have this wrist blade gear. And then they could squat around and move around and dodge you really fast somehow. Don't ask me how, it was just how they did it. That would be really cool. We already have the majority of the Clone Trooper mold in TVC. They just did another updated Clone Trooper body mold, so really they would just have to change the helmet, which also exists in 3 3/4 scale, just repaint the Black Series Phase 1 Captain Neo, or not Phase 1, Black Series Phase 1, yeah, Captain Neo helmet, and mold the arm blades. That's really the extra molding they would have to do, is just the arm blades, in my opinion. And then on that Revenge of the Sith Gaming Greats card back, not just regular Revenge of the Sith card back. That makes sense.
That sounds awesome, yeah.
I'm gonna start
I'm in for that one.
10 through 6. I'm gonna start putting up.
I think 10 through 6 is all clones.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Which is
surprising.
very interesting for
That is very surprising.
little
Like,
background.
like I told
Bobby
you,
is a droid guy.
B1s.
I am. My B1 battle droids in general, but B1 battle droids specifically are my number one favorite thing about Star Wars. But I also grew up with the clones too, and I grew up loving the clones very, very much. When I was a kid, it wasn't like, oh, I only want to play as clones in Battlefront 2 or Battlefront 1, or I only want to play as battle droids. I wanted to play both. It didn't matter which one I ended up as. I was happy either way because I've always loved both factions. They're both so cool in their own way. So I while I typically lean more droid, and I really do, I still love the clones a lot, and I still very much want to see so many of these clones on that TVC card back. And some of them are already, but some of them are due for an update, like we've been talking about. So
Yeah.
number 10, clone that's not been on TVC card back at all, Clone Commander Bly. Clone Commander Bly is a character that's definitely sorely due for an update in 3 3/4 scale, especially for his Revenge of the Sith appearance. And let's get him on a TVC card back. Clones do really great for the TVC line. They always have.
Mhm.
They look so good on that card back, and I just know it would be a hit. I just know he would look so good. They would probably use that that screen grab where it's just him and his 327th Star Garrison flanking him, and Ayla. Maybe they have the AT-UT behind them or something. But they would use the image of them on Felucia as the backdrop art, and it would look so good on that Revenge of the Sith card back.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Number 9, we've had lots of releases of a Kashyyyk Trooper or 42nd Scout Regiment Clone Trooper, or Kashyyyk Scout Trooper, whatever you want to call him. He's a really cool clone, and while we got the first figure back in 2006, a year after the Revenge of the Sith toy line, it's been character that's been consistently good with its figure releases, but with the most recent Biker Scout we got in TVC for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, which got repainted a little bit for the Mandalorian, also for the Remnant Biker Scout, I would love to see an updated version of that because the clone armor is just slightly different with the Kashyyyk clone on that TVC card back. But again, with the Revenge of the Sith backdrop art where they're on Kashyyyk, and I like the image you chose for that, Dante, where it's over
Very
the
hard
shoulder.
image to find. Not gonna lie to
Down
you,
on the
but
beach. Did you look it up by the name I gave you, or did you
I
just try
did.
Kashyyyk Trooper or something?
I should have just went with Kashyyyk Trooper. That's probably why
I
I
could have,
didn't. Yeah.
I could
No,
have.
it's all good. It's all good. I
I
wanted to.
got
I like the image too, so it kind of worked out. But yeah, it was
I
slim
got
pickings.
descriptive with my list because the list I gave Dante, the way I put it for the card back was let's see, that's my number 9. Clone Trooper parentheses 42nd Scout Regiment is kind of how I picture that one. Its name bar on the card back. So that's what I went with there. Number 8, which leads us into Clone Commander Gree. He already exists on TVC, but again, we've gotten an updated Clone Trooper mold, so I would like to see Gree on the updated mold because the TVC Gree is a reissue of the the 30th anniversary Gree from 2007, which not a bad figure. It's still fully articulated, good detail, but I mean, we've got the new mold. We might as well use it, right? So an
Yeah.
updated Gree would be nice. Number 7, Clone Commander Neo. I was kind of picturing they would just reissue the one from Black Series Phase 1, but again, if they want to use the updated mold for that too, and then just pop that helmet on or head on from the Black Series release, or go through all the work of resculpting a new one, they can. But the figure exists, might as well use it. It was a good one. They did it for the Attack of the Clones Anakin from that line, and that was a hit too because that was a really good figure. So, again, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Let's see, Bakara. We're getting Bakara in Black Series 6-inch scale for the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, and so far I don't think he's been mentioned for TVC yet, and he hasn't been released in TVC. He got a fully articulated release in the Legacy Collection, and probably would have gotten reissued in TVC. There's a good chance of that if it was still going at the time, but obviously that didn't happen. So Bakara, I feel like, needs to be on a TVC card, and you're probably starting to notice a theme here that I particularly picked out the commanders themselves because, I mean, those are the clones that really stuck out to us in Revenge of the Sith at the time, with a couple other exceptions being like the 501st Clone Trooper, the regular 212th Clone Trooper, the 327ths, the 42nd Recons, like I mentioned in my list over there. And then, of course, there's a few more going down my list. At least number 5, maybe also number 4, I think. Yes. Okay, so number 5. Another one. How is this not in VC yet? The 212 Airborne Clone Trooper.
It's a good one.
That one, on a Revenge of the Sith card would just look so good. That one definitely needs to be using the, at the very least, current Purge Trooper mold because a Purge
Yes,
Trooper is
actually.
just
Yeah.
airborne. I mean,
Hmm.
how we haven't gotten an airborne trooper in 6-inch scale or 3 3/4 scale is beyond me because the mold exists for the most part. I mean, there's a few extra bits they have to add, but the main body is there,
Yeah.
So getting that one feels like a no-brainer, especially for the 20th anniversary because that was a very much a standout clone trooper for so many fans in Revenge of the Sith, including myself. It's such an awesome looking helmet. So cool. Cody, he's the goat for Revenge of the Sith. We all love Cody.
Gotta
He's
have
so
it.
cool.
Yep.
It just makes sense to either do a new Cody or reissue Cody with at least an updated face and maybe some updated paint on that other mold. If not, again, a totally new figure with the current Clone Trooper mold. And why not? Let's just do it. And my last three.
I'm gonna do 2 and 3 at the same time, and then 1 will be its own.
Sure. Two and 3 go together.
Yep.
2 and 3 go together. I still want to see them individually carded though. That's kind of why I made them separate. So
for non-droid people, can we get a rundown on
Yes.
differences?
So
just for the audience there.
yes. So in Revenge of the Sith, there are primarily 2 Magna Guards seen, even though they die multiple times. IG-101, which is in the number 2 spot, and IG-102, which is in the number 3 spot. So IG-101 is one of Grievous's, well, they're both one of Grievous's main Magna Guard bodyguards by the time of Revenge of the Sith. But their main differences is 101 is more of a brighter metallic gray, silvery color in his plating with the red eyes and his indicator lights. And he has a kind of off-white, almost cream color cloak with almost brown Kaleesh stripes on it. IG-102 is a kind of dark blue colored Magna Guard with a bunch of weathering on him, because I guess he's just seen a lot of battle or whatever, or has been rolling around a lot to get his paint chipped off, because he's missing a lot of it, which is why he almost looks blue and silver, because he's missing a lot of his paint. And then he has a gray cloak with green Kaleesh stripes on it to distinguish the 2 of them between each other. And it's very likely the reason we see them multiple times throughout Revenge of the Sith, even though they die on the Invisible Hand and then later again on Utapau, is because droids can be rebuilt and personality matrices can also be transferred from body to body. So it's likely Grievous would have had multiple. Also, the VFX staff at Lucasfilm probably were trying to save money and just use the same character models again, but who knows? Anyway, they are 2 different droids.
That's Bobbypedia Droid Knowledge Bomb. That's awesome.
That was awesome. Thank you, Bobby. Damn.
You're welcome. The TVC Magna Guard we previously got mostly resembles IG-101. So what I kind of envision there is kind of a reissue of that figure. But I also feel like the Magna Guard's due for a new mold, because the TVC mold's good, but it's not great. It could do with some improvement both in articulation and detail. So I would like to see a new mold of these guys, because this is the 20th anniversary of not just Revenge of the Sith, but the IG-100 Magna Guard as well. And getting them with both staffs like we got with IG-101 in Black Series, which I thought was kind of funny. He should be in Revenge of the Sith box, not Clone Wars, because he doesn't appear like that in the Clone Wars. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And number 1, here we go.
Solid picks.
Bang.
I'm excited. What is it?
It's cool. It's really cool. We need a new Grievous needs a new mold in VC so bad. I love the TVC Grievous, but it's not my favorite Grievous in 3 3/4 scale.
No.
The Legacy one's better. Not by much, but it is better. He definitely needs an updated mold. He definitely needs updated detail and articulation. I appreciate what they tried to accomplish, especially in terms of articulation with the original TVC Grievous, but he's too chunky where he shouldn't be in so many places. And I like we were talking about before we went live, Patrick, with Emily. I feel like Emily should just go over to Eric's office and just go, "Hey, Eric, can you help me scale down your B1 in Black Series for TVC, because the TVC B1 mold is horrible. I love him, but he is horrible.
It's the worst.
They need to do the same
no
thing
getting around it.
for the Black Series. Just take the Black Series mold, scale it down. It's a great mold. And Grievous really, really needs an update. His mold is very much outdated. Um, and if they want to reissue it, okay, that'll be cool too. I wouldn't
I'd be all
be
right with it, I
too
guess.
upset with that.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I would love a fresh mold of Grievous. He needs one.
I
that's a
mean,
great number one. I approve.
yeah,
I
we're
like it.
getting a lot of
I
like,
didn't think about it.
yeah, I mean for Grievous in general, right? We got the retro was really cool,
Mm.
right? That one was
Oh
super
That's true.
cool.
yeah,
Mhm.
And then
I
we're
saw them
getting
picked one up in person, but I really want it.
right, and we're getting Hot Toys too. They're finally getting one after Sideshow for so long. That one's so bad, and I have it, and I still haven't opened it on purpose. I'm glad I didn't, because the Hot Toys, I'm probably still gonna open it to put it together, because you can never have enough Grooves, right? Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, the Grooves is getting a lot of love, so
Vinny
I
would
could
definitely
see
agree
that.
with you.
Oh, right, exactly, right. I could see that happening within the next like couple years, since there's a wave.
And hey, we're speaking of Hot Toys and making it happen. We're getting not just the Droideka, but the first ever Droideka in 12-inch scale,
It's
which
sick too.
I'm excited.
It's so nice.
I'm excited. I'm not a Hot Toys collector. I've
Yeah.
always admired and appreciated it though, because it's out of budget for me. But there are a few pieces that are must-haves, and I
Hmm.
will have them in my collection. B1 Battle Droid, Droideka, and B2 are definitely pieces on that list.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the good news is
Did
I
you
don't.
already order those, Dante?
No, because I don't see them selling. I've like went through this wave of
That's
like
fair.
pre-ordering everything and then seeing it go
Yeah,
on what like 30% off out of nowhere,
or
especially like
more
the Mando
sometimes.
ones. I'm like, oh my
Hmm.
Yeah.
goodness. So I'm actually waiting for a really good deal. Or like during Q4, there was a lot of, oh, this figure's free if you buy another one kind of thing, right? Those are some good deals. I'm
I'll never
hoping
do that.
like a Droideka, because I need two. I one in
Mm.
all form and one in attack mode, right?
Wow, you
Yeah.
just had to say that out loud.
I said the good
Dang it.
parts
You're
out loud, you know.
doomed to buy two now.
Dang it.
But I think it'll happen. And I
Dang
think you
it.
could wait on it. It won't be one of those ones that are limited release or anything like that. I think it'll be
That's
fine.
fair.
Um,
That's
but
fair.
no, it's been every time their ads are very good. By the way, shout out to that team. Big respect being in the profession. They know they know. But I've been very picky on how I collect my hot toys too, because I've been not burned because I still get them, but I could have got them for cheaper and not gotten them right away,
Yeah,
kind of thing. So, um,
I hear
I
that.
know how you feel. I felt that about the Black Series Star Killer. I know a lot of people
oh
did.
yeah,
Oh, they did us so dirty with that. I mean, and a lot of people got done dirty with the micro galaxy ghost. This, I mean, it was great for some of us to get it for like 15
Yeah.
bucks, but for those of you who paid 60 or over over retail, I don't envy you. I'm so sorry. Not to circle too far back, Sean Crockett mentioned I think Plastic and Grievous do play well with each other. I think he meant to say don't play well with each other. To get the right proportions, the plastic gets limp sometimes, and yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
sometimes it
fair.
does get limp for them to get those screen accurate proportions. In some figures, like Hot Toys or the original 12-inch Grievous for sure, and the Disney Elite Grievous, you can't even really display them without a stand. They simply will not stand up on their own, and it's a
Yeah.
shame.
yeah.
But it looks good.
I will say now, trying to the last point before that, I'm talking on the business side because I noticed for a lot of these pipeline things, is I'm the one who posts when new news is up. It's very
Hmm.
interesting to see kind of the business shift for Hasbro on a lot of these releases where they're not all in stores in general, which could be good and bad, right? I think
Yeah.
good because it's something that we talked about of like we could just wait. It'll go to Ollie's or go to Ross or it'll get clearanced, right? But a lot of what I've noticed is that some of them are fan channel only or Disney, right? And you
Mhm.
can't see the pegs on there, at least not
Mm-mm.
as, not as,
No,
so
you
perception
cannot.
changes quite a bit, right? Value, hopefully, for collectors, inbox collectors in general, that could rise too. Hopefully not for resellers, but for those who, like to keep things in boxes, and if they have to let them go, then, there's at least some value for it, right? I think that's something that's sorely been missed, and when you see not a thousand, but a thousand Landos on your in your target, right? You probably don't want to pick one up right away, But if you don't see that, I think psychologically you could start to buy them maybe a little bit sooner than as opposed to waiting. So I think more on the business side, I'll speak on that. I think they've been pretty strategic with at least the pipelines they've revealed of not every single thing being straight to store available everywhere. You know, it's
And
really
it's the same.
yeah
It's the same across all their scales with Black
yeah
Series and
hmm
Retro and everything else too.
yeah
Oh, the role play.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think it'll be very interesting to see how that changes because I don't think they like that perception of I'll just wait for Ollie's or I'll just wait for Ross or any. I don't think anyone likes
I
it's
don't
already
think anybody does. I
yeah
mean,
I don't
as
like
a
it,
consumer
even
as
though
a
I take
collector,
advantage of it.
yeah
as a collector, I don't like it. It's ultimately, I mean, getting a good deal or getting below retail is amazing and great, but having that kind of mentality it just turns you into not picking up anything because,
hmm
well, it might go on clearance,
yeah
but then like I usually see those same collectors be the most negative when those same pieces or some of those pieces that they did pass up for that reason become very expensive secondhand. And now some of them, didn't actually have the opportunity. They didn't see it on shelf or whatever. But others who willfully choose not to, you know, because of that,
Mhm.
I can't agree with that because I as a hunter, so many people I guess got comfortable not suffering from the hunter's curse of if you say out loud,
hmm
I'm gonna come back for that later, I'm gonna wait for it to go on clearance, most of the time you will never see
nope
it again.
yep
Or you'll get
That's fair.
really lucky to see it again.
yep
But the next time
Yeah.
you do see it again around that price or better, it's years down the line, not immediately, not the next week or your next run to Target or your next run to Walmart. It's years. So
Mhm.
um, don't sleep on it. I've always said it. Don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on that character. Yeah, that character may end up being a peg warmer, but how often does that actually happen comparatively? Not really. Not really. So don't sleep on it. Don't have the mindset of get it later or wait for it to go on
yeah
discount because that's been happening too often over the past couple of years that I'd be willing to bet that these companies have already started taking steps to correct that oversight. And what it's probably going to start with is we're going to see less quantities of pieces produced
yep
You're
across
right
the
about that.
yeah
board.
oh yeah
And
Yeah.
and when there's already a noticeable disparaging amount of lack of certain more sought after characters to characters that end up being peg warmers, you're not going to see that balance out like you think. What you're going to see is less of both, which means it's not going to go to these numbers shifting to this, it's going to go to these numbers both shifting to
Mhm.
this. So you're still going to see less of that character you wanted more than the other characters that you wanted less. It's just you're going to see less of both of them because of that. And
Yeah.
that's kind of as a business standpoint, that's the most logical decision Hasbro could make, unfortunately.
well I
And
think
And they
and
pretty
that's
much
our
said that
that's
that's what
to
they're
our detriment.
doing. Yeah.
yeah
Right.
Yeah. So,
I think on
you
the flip
know,
side of that coin too, though, like perception, right? Perception is everything, and not seeing the pegs being warmed by things is great. But also on top of that, I would say Hasbro's done an amazing job of across everything. Well, like these, the vintage collection, and then also, obviously Black Series. Like they've really upped their game when it came to the face mold. It's night and day.
oh
Like if you
yeah.
look
Oh
5 years,
yeah.
like I think Andor's probably
Absolutely.
like the best Black
Always getting
Series
better.
one to
Always
look
getting
at. Pat, you could probably
better.
think of one on the vintage collection, but just seeing like that
Recently,
newest, the Andor one is ridiculous. The face mold, and there's a lot of value in having these figures
Recently,
that
I
are
don't.
actually look like the character. But
the Grand Inquisitor came to mind just because I did open that recently, and I mentioned that earlier in the stream. But
yeah,
Mm,
it looks. I know people don't like the fact that it's the squatty head versus the taller head. I get all that, but like, as
squatty
far as the
bit.
likeness, you can't deny they nailed it.
Right.
yeah,
I mean, it's perfect.
That's in, and I've been saying that about all of the acolyte figures and other figures that might not be as popular characters. Say what you
Hmm.
will about the character or the project, but
Hmm.
the figure is is great.
Great.
Oh, they're all
Nailed
Yeah.
it.
awesome. Yeah, Pat, your
Yeah.
review on what was it on Assassin May, right? Um,
Oh
Hmm.
yeah,
yeah,
the VC
that was a
and
great
Black
one.
Series are both amazing.
Looks
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Like you said,
a
regardless of
lot
what
of
you
cool
feel about
accessories too.
exactly. Yeah.
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 See, I love it, and that's another reason I think I've started to kind of sway recently, or more recently, towards vintage collection and preferences, because they are more likely to include that. And yes, they're tiny and cents, fractions of cents to produce, and so it's not as big of a deal as throwing an accessory in a Black Series, but
Yeah.
that sort of stuff goes a long way.
Hmm.
So,
Honorable mentions.
Well, real quick
ooh,
before
so many.
we hop off of your well, technically it'll stay up, but any
Mhm.
last words that you have, Bobby, for yours and Pat? Anything, any feedback in general?
Last words. Hasbro, make all of these figures or else. But actually,
That's a threat.
Might
no,
be a
but
promise. I
actually,
don't know.
Maybe it is.
no.
Oh man.
Um, I, I mean, like I said, I approached mine with the mindset of this year is the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith and the 10th anniversary of The Force Awakens, and I really want to see a focus on those two projects in particular. Um, I know we've only got so much space in the line, and there's so many other characters that we're still missing in 3/4 scale, especially from so many current and main projects that are going, which is why I, of course, included the Bad Batch in my list, mostly because I think they're the most outstanding main character group at this point in TVC that's missing as far
That's
as like a
fair.
big project goes.
Hmm.
So um, yeah, I mean this year I think really needs to be about Revenge of the Sith, The Force Awakens, and catching up on main characters, at least A level and B level characters in the current projects that we have that we're still very sorely lacking.
Yeah.
Cool.
That we do in most cases
Hmm.
have representations of in the Black Series.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and especially in the cases of current projects. And Black Series, we've got everybody. That's like a
Yeah.
main character pretty much. I mean,
Pretty
you
much.
really can't say we don't. We really do. So that we really got to get the scales balanced there, in my opinion. But beyond that, Force Awakens and Revenge of the Sith, it's got to be about that too, because those
Yeah.
those two projects are just so iconic.
Yeah, I think
I wish
it's
they'd done more, like I said, about the anniversary of Phantom Menace. So I'm
yeah.
100% on board for
So it's a makeup.
overdoing it with
Yeah.
Revenge
Speak
of the Sith to make up for it a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that'd be
that
nice.
same in that same
Yeah.
vein, I wish they
Mhm.
did literally anything at all for the anniversary of Attack of the Clones. We got a few
That's
recards.
fair. That's
We
fair.
got a we all we got for Attack of the Clones was a few recards in TVC, and that was
Yeah.
pretty much it. There was no anniversary line, there was no anniversary logo or label or nothing for Attack of the
Yep.
Clones.
Yeah.
And oh, that's something I'll get heated about because I also really like Attack of the Clones.
Actually, real quick, because this might be a good segue. Well, let me say what I'm going to say first, and then I could segue
Yeah.
perfectly into our honorable mentions or it's kind of theory craft and things of that sort. Um, but I like the difference in the. There's a big difference between the two lists in general, right?
Mm,
It comes a lot from
Very.
kind of the backgrounds of how we collect, right? Bobby, your
yeah.
side, you're mostly a 6-inch guy, but
Yep.
you not saying Pat that you don't, but in general, it's like a different way of
It's all
thinking.
good.
No, no, no. Well, what I'm saying next is gonna say it's like it's more his list is more of a let's get stuff that should be in there already, right? And then Pat on his side being primarily TVC focused, right? It's like more hey, let's actually look at new things that we can get, right? So it's a two sides of the coin, right? It's like oh,
Mm-hmm.
here's what we probably should have already, and here's what we really want, kind of thing. It's like
Yeah.
a needs versus want um, list in general, and it's
Yeah.
very cool to see the difference in thinking in general, just off of being different collectors, right? Um,
I like
So
that we didn't share the lists. I
yeah,
like that it was a surprise for both of us. I think
see,
that worked
wasn't
out
that
well.
good?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
see,
Yes, I did also really
yeah,
like that.
good.
yeah, it was
Yeah, I was
nice.
the only one. I was like, ooh, these are very interesting. When I was the only one that could share that sentiment, but um,
I I'm
both very
actually
different.
surprised there wasn't more overlap.
I think it's just the different type of
Agreed.
collectors, right?
I
Like
mean, I'm
one's thinking TVC, like solely just
yeah,
TVC, and you were thinking these are things
three
that
three
should
quarter
be
as
in
a
there.
whole.
Why the hell
Yeah.
aren't they, right? Um,
Yep.
you know, it's a very both sides of the coin. It's very. I hope we see a mix of both. I know we're not going to see every single thing, obviously, but a good mix of both
Oh,
would
yeah,
be
nice
amazing.
though. Yeah.
Just know that TVC fans, some of us Black Series fans, we're rooting for you because we want your line to do good just as we want our line to do good. It's better for both of us if they both succeed.
And then there's the lucky and or unlucky, depending on how you look at it. People like me who collect both lines, and I just want all of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh
You're not
yeah.
the only one. There's a
Which is
few
not
other
good,
collectors.
but
There's a
That's
few other collectors in this stream, in the chat particular, who are also on that same. They collect both VC and Black Series, all of it, and
it's hard. It
it.
really is.
Yeah, it. I'm sure it can be.
yeah. That's why I'm a
I
Hot
don't.
Toys
I
guy.
don't envy it.
Yeah, that's why I'm a
Yeah.
Hot Toys guy now. Because I'm like, look, I get one figure for well, the way I've been doing it is like in eras per se. Because a lot of it's
Yeah.
prequel,
Mm,
to be honest with you.
yeah.
And maybe the other part is Mandoverse in general. Those are the two that have been resonating very well for me.
Oh, yeah.
I respect the OT, but
Yep.
I'm not
I'm with
Unk
you
yet.
there.
So, um, but yeah,
Yeah.
not Unk. Yeah, well, I guess you could debate prequels. I am Unk, so we'll
Oh,
see. But
Yeah.
boy.
but to
I,
segue though, I will say because I know we're going into honorable mentions, but
yes.
I'm gonna theory craft one thing because I know it came
Go
up
for it.
with I guess since we're on wish list, right? HasLab, right? That came up with Bad Batch
Hmm.
possibly being in it.
Mm-hmm.
What if we get like Poppy? What was the line where it was all the Jedi Masters in their seats of the council? What if we get
So that
Yes.
started. It was actually throughout a few lines, but they called it the Jedi High Council
Hmm.
chamber scene, I
yeah?
believe. And then they had them separated. The packs were labeled Scene One and Scene Two in the respective
Mm,
lines they were in. So there were three sets, three pairs throughout three lines, and it started in the 2003 Saga Legends
hmm
line or Saga Collection line, something like that. Uh, it was the line that came out right after Attack of the Clones and ran kind of parallel to Clone Wars and original trilogy collection. And
Yep.
then they put two more in original trilogy collection. In fact, they might have put in the rest in original trilogy collection. Regardless, um, it was six different packs, and uh, yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
That'd
I
be
mean, I
awesome.
I think we can get a little, and I don't think I don't want a little break from it, but I think there could be a fatigue, even though technically the Ghost was marked under Ahsoka, but the carded figures
Hmm.
were Rebels, right? Which is very
They
interesting.
were.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I feel like we can get a small break for some collectors who are movie purists or think cartoons are for kids. I digress. And I think that could be a good homage to, what we're looking for in the anniversary, just prequel and general prequel appreciation, right? General. So,
Hmm.
I think
That's
it'd be funny if they did the last tier as Anakin, and he just, in like I
Yeah.
mean, not a pouty face, but obviously we know the scene
and
that.
and a can and a baggie of and a baggie of younglings.
Well, no, just like him, just being
It's just body
denied the
parts.
rank of master. I think that'd be
Oh,
hilarious to have like just that like figure there. This is kind of like a gag, but I'm
yeah,
sure
That
they
would be
wouldn't
an
do it.
amazing set.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how would they do it? Would they have to split it so you could fold it out?
I feel like they could do
maybe
it like the
like how they were
like
released
like
before,
they've
right?
been doing the current I feel like they could just do it like they're doing the current playset diorama box sets. They
Hmm.
could just like
Hmm.
do maybe not break it down into six sections, but maybe do like you get half of the room in a box set and maybe like a generic Jedi Knight or something, or a Jedi Knight that we've been missing from the Jedi High Council and TVC, which if you want to go with the character roster, which is the Jedi High Council of the Phantom Menace specifically from
That's what I was thinking.
that voice that we were talking earlier,
Yeah.
maybe go with somebody like Yariel Poof, since he's the only Jedi, or well, not the only one, because there's also Yaddle. He and Yaddle are the only Jedi Masters of the High Council. Maybe do like someone like Yariel Poof, or and then do another half release with Yaddle or something. That way we get 2 cool Jedi Masters with that. Or again, a generic, so that it doesn't piss off the TVC fans who want Yariel Poof by himself but don't want to open up a playset or buy a playset just to get a carded Jedi. Because I know that's going to come up on Facebook. I can already see the several why Hasbro and other stuff comments now.
Which we do not condone, by the way.
No,
Don't get me wrong. Like, there are times where I get frustrated because I open most of my figures, but I also have an entire carded TVC set, and so it is frustrating sometimes to have to like buy 2 of a pack. Like, throw it on a different. Give me the same figure, maybe throw it on a different card. Like, that'd be kind of a unique way, I guess, to satisfy more people, maybe. But,
and that's why you typically see a character like an army builder with these packs past the release of the Jabba's Trophy Wall release, because pretty much everyone after that has been army builders. So Stormtrooper, Rebel Fleet Trooper, Death Trooper.
Yes.
There was another trooper recently with one of those. What was it? Oh, a Mando, I think, probably.
That sounds right.
Yeah, the Mando Privateer for the.
That's right.
Yeah. And then Armorer comes with the Armorer Forge, but I mean, who else would you pair with that? Plus, we already got the Armorer single carded in TVC anyway, so this is a variant, not an exclusive character package.
That one doesn't bother me. Yeah.
But yeah, that's why it is a valid point for the complaint. It's just, my joke about the complaint is it's something that it's a tired complaint that I see all too often, and often posted the wrong way.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's most of Star Wars in a nutshell
definitely
nowadays.
The sentiment behind what you're implying. Yes, I got you.
Yes. It's not so much the complaint is invalid. It's the manner in which it is presented that is incorrect. Oftentimes, more often.
I use that exact phrasing more often than I care to admit to talk to people about certain things. It's not that about your opinion. It's the way that
the way you presented it. Yeah.
You don't have to say it 20 times. But anyway.
Yeah.
Right, and you don't have to resort to literal name calling. That's the other
thing.
It's the name calling that really gets me.
Yep.
Like, how old are we?
We're pretty old.
Apparently, we're all 12, but
especially the OT fanboys. You guys are old. Like, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's take our blood pressure medicine real quick. But anyways.
Goodness. Now the OT fans think we don't like them. We love you guys.
See, that's the thing.
We love OTs.
It will always be my favorite. I'm a prequels kid, and I still prefer the OT.
Really? Interesting. That's interesting.
You just gotta let people be okay with liking what they like in Star Wars, and not let it bother you that much, because it just doesn't matter. Like, it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah. Don't yuck anyone's yum.
I digress.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sean said, "Hey, some of us need that blood pressure medicine." Hey, I used to be on blood pressure medicine.
Guys, I took insulin on this live stream. I don't know if anyone even noticed that I did it. Yeah, man, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, we have.
Yeah, there was a second where I had a little pin needle in my mouth.
You did it really smoothly, I will say. I've had to keep track of y'all, and I didn't even notice. So.
Okay.
But no, we've been on for about a little bit over 2 hours. Do we want to do? How do we want to? Do we want to speed? Yeah, I know, right? Time flies when you're having fun, right?
It does.
We can speed run.
I was thinking maybe we'd start with a few like some of our deluxe picks, like deluxe carded. Since now we are moving deluxe's healing, it's going to be on a proper card back with a bubble again. I don't mind that the card back's bigger or that the bubble's bigger. That was always acceptable, Hasbro. So thank you for switching that over, because that's what I think most of us wanted anyway.
Yes.
Now, for my picks, I went with B1 Battle Droid for this one, except it's the B1-A. I would love to see a B1-A Battle Droid, the Air Battle Droid from the Revenge of the Sith video game. I, unlike the Grapple Droid, which is just a modified B2, and the reason I didn't pick that for a deluxe is because we've seen the B2 on a regular VC card back. We know size-wise it's not a deluxe, so I don't even want to accidentally put that in their minds that they should think about getting away with releasing a B2 or B2 variant as a deluxe, unless it's the B2 RP rocket, ladybug-looking battle droid.
Is this
That
the
one would be
air battle
acceptable.
droid that you're talking about?
Yeah, so it's
Oh, wow.
from the Revenge of the Sith video game.
Yeah, I'm gonna put one up
Yeah.
here just for anyone who's curious.
And due to size, because
Nice.
it's got a big repulsor wing rig that flares out on its back, like its back is actually kind of big. Um, yeah, it feels like a figure that should be a deluxe, not a single carded figure. It would require a good amount of tooling. Um,
hmm
and then another gaming greats from the Revenge of the Sith video. That's good fan art. That's
I
not
That's
wish
bad.
that was.
awesome.
Um,
Yeah, that is good fan art. I wish this was
the
larger, but yeah.
the clone Blaze Trooper is my next one. Get ready
Oh,
for that.
that could be like a Lego. That looks like they did do a Lego on that.
The clone
That
Blaze
is pretty
Trooper
sick. Yeah.
was another really awesome clone unit from.
Hmm.
Oh, that's a cool custom from Revenge of
Yeah.
the Sith, the video game, and it was just they had, I guess they had to come up with some kind of beefy clone variant since they had droid variants that you fought up until Order 66 in that video game. So that's what they
Mhm.
came up with, a big kind of riot control looking clone trooper that is now hunting Jedi, because that's what the clones are doing now. And getting this in TVC would just be super cool. And yeah, due to the size, it would have to be a deluxe.
I think the
Definitely.
Gundam boys would love that. Could you imagine Bandai
Yeah.
doing that, actually? That would
Dude,
be a
Bandai does
synergy.
some awesome stuff. I wish they were able to actually put uh, SH Figuarts out in the States
Really?
fully,
What's the lore behind
because
that? I didn't realize that's not.
I believe it's a licensing issue. It
Ah,
Yeah.
like
huh.
from what
Those are
I
so
understand,
great.
from what Vinny has told me, because Vinny has his own toy making company. Um, when the licensing is broken up, it's also broken up into regions too. So basically, Hasbro owns the 6-inch scale market in the United States,
Mm,
and since
interesting.
SH Figuarts is essentially a competing toy line, that's why it's not available like in mass in the US like it is over in
Hmm.
Japan, because it's primarily produced, um, I believe, in Japan. So
That's
uh,
interesting. Hmm.
they have a lot of it over there, and
Yeah,
the figures they
of
produce
course.
are good. And there's even some examples of characters in that line that don't exist in Black Series, like
hmm
Vision's characters, for example.
Yeah.
We'll softball a tease for an upcoming Rebel Scum review of an SH Figuarts Kare, because I did get one from BBTS. They sent me one to review. So,
Dope.
especially with season 3 of Visions on the horizon, I wanted to do something Visions content soon, and I think that's a good segue there. So, uh,
Yeah.
Blaze Trooper was one of my deluxe choices, and then let's just go with one more, Tarful. Tarful, the Wookiee chieftain.
Ooh,
He should be in
that'd be nice.
VC. He has one figure in 3/3 scale. He got a figure in Revenge of the Sith, and that was it. He didn't even get repacked into figure packs, which is kind of surprising. So, you know, yeah, Tarful probably doesn't have to be a deluxe, but Black Chrysanthemum was, and it would give Hasbro an excuse to pack more Wookiee weapons probably in there with him to justify that deluxe size, packaging, and price point a little bit more. So, you know, a Tarful would be cool as a deluxe release, in my opinion.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
I agree.
I know.
Now, what about you, Mr. Patrick? What did you have any carded deluxes in mind?
Well, I'll be honest, I did not think to do any deluxe, but I do have a whole
Okay.
bunch of honorable mention stuff, so
Mm,
I can
okay.
go through
I'd
that
love
real
to hear
quick
them.
instead.
Yeah.
Yes.
So these were 10 that I had to kind of leave off of main list, starting out with Ezra Bridger from Ahsoka, to your
Yes.
point earlier.
I
Um,
agree with that one. That's another really good one. But
Which
which version?
one? Yeah. Yep.
Are
the
we
one
talking
that we
Moses?
see on Peridia, yes, I want
Yes.
Moses,
I
yeah,
Okay.
want Moses.
Okay.
because we're
Yeah.
definitely going to get a new one for Ahsoka season 2. He's going to be in a completely different costume, I would imagine, by that point. So, like, if we don't get the Peridian one now, or maybe we'll get it in 10 years, but you see what I'm getting at?
I
Hmm.
Like,
wonder if
we'll
the
just skip it.
I wonder if the first one we'll get is kind of like what happened with Miggs Mayfeld, where we get the Night Trooper disguise Ezra first because they already have the mold for that one completely done.
True.
They just have to do the head
I bet you're right.
because
Yeah.
they
I
did
bet you're
that for
right.
Black Series and TVC with Miggs. He got
Yeah.
his Transport Trooper done first because they already had the body and the helmet
Yep.
done. They just had to hollow out the helmet and do a Bill Burr face and just
Hmm.
make sure it fit. And then they did that in both scales. So
Yeah.
it's possible we could see that happen and then get Moses Ezra after. I would like to hope and think that Hasbro would do this version first, though, because I also really
Yeah.
like this version of Ezra.
Yeah, you don't want to get forgotten at the end of the day, right? 'Cause with season 2 coming up, it's like the new shiny things do the most upcoming season, but yeah, I just don't want to get
Right,
lost in the
Yeah.
mix. So I totally agree.
right. And,
Exactly.
and you know what? Grief Karga is another good example of that because our
Ooh.
Yeah.
first 3/3 Grief Karga was season 2 Grief Karga,
Hmm.
not season 1. In fact, season 1 Grief Karga is still not in the TVC.
No. I
What's his
mean,
new
and
title again? I would love the
Magistrate.
High
chief
Magistrate.
magistrate
Oh,
or
from
high
season
magistrate. Yeah,
3,
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
where he's got the
the
mega
cape.
drip.
Yeah, yeah,
Mega
that's the one. I think
Yeah,
that's
he
the one in the
does.
TVC. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And you gotta have
That
the
would be a
droids.
deluxe because
That'd
we'd
be
have
a
to have the
deluxe.
droids
Yeah,
Yeah, we
soft
carrying
gotta
his
have
goods
cape,
the
right?
has to be soft
gotta
goods
have the
too.
droid.
Yeah.
Also,
Nice.
why don't we have Copper yet? My man Chris Bartlett has done another main droid character in the series, except this one doesn't have a new figure yet, and really they just have to take the 3PO protocol droid body, paint it copper, and then do the head of Copper instead of 3PO's head.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
TVC in 6-inch scale. Also, why isn't Q90 in TVC either?
Yeah,
It's weird.
I could
So
see
many
it
good
be a droid
questions.
pack. I could see a droid pack happening, but we'll see.
Yeah.
That could make sense to if it's such a easy retool like that, or repaint in this case. That'd be very easy
Yeah.
to drop
Repaint,
in with some others. That'd be cool. That'd be cool if they did that more often. It's like, hey, you want these variants, so here they are in various packs that you need. It would be interesting, but
Actually, now that
We
I
thought
think
about
about
that.
it, another good honorable mention: C3PO
oh,
desperately needs a new mold.
He
in
does need a new
TVC.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that TVC mold is, I think, kind of tired. It's cool having the removable panels, but let's get a version that it focuses on more screen accurate detail and better articulation over removable panels. I think
Yeah.
I would.
No,
I
that's a good point.
for that.
That's definitely a good point. Especially if he was actually shiny. Like that would be nice too.
Right.
But
It's supposed to be. It's 3PO is not just gold. He's like chrome gold.
exactly.
He
You have
should
to see your
definitely.
reflection in him.
Yeah, he should definitely be shinier.
Well, next on my list is continuing a little bit with Ahsoka is Merrick
Ah,
or
yeah.
Merrock. I forget
Rock,
how to pronounce that, but
Paul Darnell.
that would be a nice one.
the heart clad version or in fully intact?
Just for Cloud version. Yeah, I figure
Why
that's got to
not?
be a
Why
deluxe
not
too,
both?
though, right?
Why not both? I mean,
Evolutions.
the Tales of the Empire Marok is just, I guess his armor's just not rusted, and he's not green smoke underneath. So yeah, why
I'm
not
so
get both?
sad that's how it ended for him, but I hope
Me
that's
too.
not the end that we see of. I don't think it is, to be honest with you. That
I don't
seemed
think
too
it
easy,
is. Yeah.
seem
Who
a little
knows?
too easy,
Exactly.
Who
Agree.
knows?
but
We'll have to wait and see.
we will see.
But Ahsoka from Rebels would be another fine addition for the Ghost
Oh
Crew.
yeah.
I couldn't justify making it a top 25 pick, but it was close. It was close.
I
Anybody that can interact with the Ghost, I want.
The
Obviously,
cape one, the cape, no cape, or
no
not even
cape.
a cape.
I
It's like
mean,
a poncho. It's like a full-on poncho, right?
would say no
I
cape.
mean that would be nice too.
That'd be kind of
But
cool.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe a deluxe version of that where
Ooh.
she, at
Give us
the
like an
end where
Anakin
she's all
one, like
white.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Just the different
Mm.
variations of Ahsoka through the years. Oh,
That
that'd
would
be a
be a
banger.
great
That'd be a
evolution
banger.
pack, actually.
I
Like,
also would
think about how
like.
many different versions of
Yeah.
Ahsoka you could put in an evolutions pack.
Oh yeah.
I would like this version also to be like they did with the Black Series Rebels Ahsoka, where it's modeled off of her animation face, not
Same.
Rosario.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
I'm getting at. Yeah,
specifically
yeah,
for the
yeah.
Rebels version.
Yeah.
I love Rosario,
Specifically animated
but
version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have more Rosario Ahsokas than I can throw a stick at this point. Like it's crazy that that's the Ahsoka that's dominating in Black Series, not
Yeah.
the Ashley Eckstein versions. Not that that's necessarily a problem, but it's still it's just a little strange. So we definitely need Rebels. Yeah, Rebels Ahsoka in TVC is a must. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll list these real quick, and you can cherry pick which ones are most exciting or not. But I got Palpatine from Rise of Skywalker, like the
Mm.
Sith
Yeah.
Eternal.
Oh yeah.
Kira. I feel like that's a
Yes.
pretty big missing
Yeah.
piece.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Luthen from Andor, which is at the top of a lot of people's lists, so that's kind of why it's not at the top of mine. I'm very much assuming that one is maybe
I
not
mean,
officially in the
season
pipeline,
one
but
got
it's pretty darn
canceled, right?
close.
So
Yeah,
we're getting the other leftover characters that we didn't get when season one came out, like Deidre in both scales. We got her in
yeah.
both TVC and Black Series. Well, she's not out in TVC, I guess, yet, but
She's
she's about
pipeline, I guess. Yeah,
to.
yeah.
And but yeah, they're starting to round off some of the main stragglers from that. Luthen is definitely a good choice. I like your that you're going for outlaws, Kira. I was more thinking.
Low
I
hanging
think
fruit.
Patrick.
Yeah.
I think Patrick was thinking solo Kira.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay.
but
I was thinking Crimson Dawn, Kira, actually.
Oh,
well,
okay.
So
outlaws.
that
Yeah,
is.
that
I
is,
haven't
yeah.
played
Yeah,
Outlaws.
that is Outlaws,
Spoiler
yeah.
alert. Or
Well,
lack
actually,
thereof.
You're talking about
Crimson Dawn,
comics. Comics, Kira.
I'm talking about the comics. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Fun
That's fair.
fact for the fans who are still confused out there. Darth Maul was not the leader of Crimson Dawn specifically, while he did rule over Crimson Dawn. I know that sounds confusing, but Maul was the leader of the Shadow Collective, of which Crimson Dawn was a part of, along with the Pike Syndicate, the Black Sun Crime Syndicate, a faction of Death Watch, and a few others. But Crimson Dawn was primarily led and ruled actually by Dryden Voss before Kira took over when Dryden Voss was killed in Solo. So,
I debate
fun
Outlaws would
Solo.
make the most sense for gaming greats. They need to release
Oh
some
yeah,
just
so
outlaw
much,
stuff in general.
so much. Yes.
So I feel like if we could get it, I feel like that's the hope, or that gives us hope because she was in it, and I mean she was the main person, right? When it came
What
to
does she look
Some
like in Outlaws? Because I still haven't played it, so I really have no
oh,
idea.
it's
Does she
great
look
by
like
the
she
way.
does in the comics?
like this, like the screen.
Oh,
The
I didn't
image
see
that
you
he,
had it pulled up. I got you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
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 the
yeah.
one he has pulled up right now. Yeah, that's how she looks.
Yeah.
She looks like herself.
That's
Now
great.
she's not played by Amelia Clark in
No.
Outlaws, but
Mhm.
the
It's good
voice
enough.
actress who portrays
Yeah.
her does a very
Yeah.
good impression.
It's
I
pretty
think
fair.
so.
Yeah.
Specifically, the
Outlaws.
crimson
Yeah,
outfit though
I
is
agree.
kind of the one I was
Oh, dude,
envisioning.
Yep.
Yeah,
her fits in Outlaws are great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I could see that there being hope, and then they'd have which would leave the door open. That's actually why I was a little surprised that Kira wasn't in. I didn't make a list because I had to make sure this all looks pretty. But Kira probably would have been my top 5 because then you retool it to Pat's point. You could retool it to the different you could solo the comics whatever it
Sure.
may be. So
Yeah.
Yep.
I think
But
that'd
again,
be a cheat code honestly.
the fact that she's not in TVC at all period is
Yeah,
crazy.
that is
She
very
only
weird.
has
Yeah.
2 figures in 3 3/4 scale, and they're both 5 POA and the Force Link 2.0 line. One was released in a 4-pack, the other one was released as a single carded figure. One of them's her Corelli outfit, which is not the best, and it's a shame that's the only one we have for Black Series. Also, to be honest with you, but
Yeah.
and then the other one I think is
The solo
not
cape
that
fit. I'm
outfit,
just looking
but
at
the
it.
other
Oh,
one.
look, that would
That
be
would
great.
be
Oh my
that
gosh.
That's the
I
one.
would love
Yeah.
Yep,
to see
that's
in
the one.
TVC and in Black Series.
Ooh,
That's the one.
Yeah.
that's yeah,
That's my favorite
Cape,
tier.
the red cape. Oh, that's sick.
yeah.
And the red cape with the collar, the black collar there.
hmm
It,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about having the thick collar
Collar
piece.
with the cape. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sweet. Vader does it. It's a sweet
Very
look.
Star
The
Wars.
Jedi do
Yeah.
it in the Clone Wars. We're getting
hmm
that Anakin in TVC like that. I'm excited. That I love that look. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Well, hopefully
All
we
right,
get one of those. I also had Darkside Ray, Padme, Ponkrell, and that was it. So
man. Dark Side
Oh
Ray,
yeah.
Padme,
Yep.
Padme. Yeah,
like
Geonosis
Attack of the
Padme.
Clones, Geonosis,
Yeah,
Padme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a good one. The only one we got's that weird one with their arm back like this or whatever. Or that's the one I have anyway. It looks terrible, but
there's two. So that's the one that came with the chain and the pillar, where she's got the mid drift from the Nexu. They also
yeah.
did the Droid Factory version where the Nexu hasn't cut her shirt apart. She comes with like a little conveyor belt piece that goes onto the overall Geonosis Arena Droid Factory playset that you can build out.
Yeah. God, I want to get one of those too, honestly.
I'm slowly building one out.
Are you?
I've been like picking up parts and pieces as we go to kind of put one together for myself eventually.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Well, Ponkrell would be. Correct
So,
me if I'm
post
wrong.
some pictures.
Dex.
Mhm.
Dex is the same species as Ponkrell, no? So whatever
Yeah,
gets is my boy
So,
Dex,
but
right?
they
No?
have a very different they both lead very different lives though.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
They
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
for figure
They
for
they're not
figure wise though, it's a gateway into getting a
yeah.
What's funny?
Oh
Here's
yeah,
the.
for sure. For sure.
You'd
It's
still
just
have to do a completely different torso, though,
oh
right?
Yeah, that's
yeah,
true.
Like, because Dex
Yeah,
is,
there we go.
he's the
That's a
plump little
good
that's
dude, you
true.
know?
yeah.
That is very
He's
true.
eaten a few been eating a few burgers. He doesn't really he hasn't been hitting up LA Fitness and croissant like Poncho has.
Oh, man.
Pon,
But yeah,
Pon,
you're right. It could, other pieces of it could lend itself to that.
yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. No one's saying it can't.
And then,
Yeah.
Bobby, did you want to end it out with some quick vehicles, and then we could sign off here?
Sure. I'll start. I got a couple of small scale vehicles. Most of the vehicles I picked are actually larger scale vehicles, which is something that TVC fans have definitely rightfully been um, saying they've been missing in their line for a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We went from getting vehicles in 3 3/4 scale like all the time and it being awesome when I was a kid to like maybe getting a starfighter a year and a half if we're lucky. And that's like whoa, what? Anyway, a lot of these vehicles still exist in the 3 3/4 scale line. I feel like some of these are just no brainer. Reissue the previous mold, maybe with some slight updates here and there if we have to, but also in the interest of filling out the line with, again, if it's not broken, don't fix it just to get it in there. Let's start with small scale. So kind of like how we have the speeder bikes right now, where it's a smaller box with a little card, kind of at the top there, and then you've got your carded figure inside, and then your little vehicle. I was thinking ATRT. ATRT is a big one that a lot of fans want, both in VC and Black Series. ATRT in one of those style packagings, I think, would be very cool, and that would
Yeah.
be a good way to reissue the VC ATRT driver, maybe with an updated Clone Trooper mold. I don't know, but it doesn't have a TVC quality vehicle in 3/3 scale. The best one we have right now is the Clone Wars toy line mold for the ATRTs, and they're fine, but those are more animated, stylized, even though they are pretty close. So
Do we have a STAP in TVC or no?
no, that the Stap is
Really?
another vehicle that definitely needs to be
It's
updated
so
in
weird that
3/3
Black
scale
Series got one
because
before. Huh.
well, it exists in 3/3 scale kind of. In my
Yeah.
opinion, the 3/3 one is too big,
How
and it
long
is.
ago though?
It is
Yeah.
too. It's been the same mold since 1999.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
same one since 1999. Yeah. So
Wow.
definitely needs an update. Definitely needs to be more screen accurate. Definitely needs to be more size accurate. The original 3/3 scale STAP is not as big as the 6-inch scale one, but it's a lot closer to 6-inch scale than it is to 3/3 scale. Is all I'm saying. So yeah, ATRT, great way to reissue the ATRT driver without actually fully reissuing it, um, or maybe just redo it since we have a new clone mold, like I said earlier. What was my next one? Crab Droid. A Crab Droid in TVC would be very cool, and that would be a good packaging for a droid of that size because it's more small scale vehicle size, not
Mhm.
quite tank size or big scale vehicle. So even the 6-leg crab droids, because there's two models, there's 4-legged crab droids and there's 6-legged crab droids. They're anti-infantry kind of small scale vehicles. So think like the size of a air speeder, like the snow speeder, the T-47 snow speeder is a good example, or like Luke's
Mhm.
X-34 is a good example. Something around that. A clone can just hop on the back of it and take one out, like we saw in Revenge of the Sith.
Mhm.
And
I just pulled a picture up
uh,
of it. Funny enough.
yep, see, and
Yeah.
that's one of the
Nice.
four-legged ones. So yeah, a crab droid would be decent, and you could release it with maybe an updated B1 battle droid because the B1 battle droid sorely needs to be updated, or reissue the B1 battle droid on Revenge of the Sith card with the crab droid, maybe put it with an Utapau backdrop, maybe get really silly with it, zoom in Hasbro and use the image where the B1 battle droid and the 12th clone trooper are boxing in the background. That does happen. If you watch Revenge of the Sith, look in the background. There's a battle droid and a clone trooper. They're duking it out. And that's what I had for small scale vehicle. And Bark Speeder, a clone Bark Speeder from
That'd be cool.
Revenge of the Sith, like we see on Saleucami with Commander Neo, and that's kind of also where my Commander Neo choice could be utilized as a vehicle release, where he's the carded figure in there, or maybe release Commander Neo single carded like I initially suggested, and then release um, one of his clones as the carded figure in there, and just repaint a regular Phase 2 clone with his, I think it's 92nd Recon, that red circle logo that's on there, because that is a canonical clone. So that'd be a cool one too.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm over here showing stuff and it's not even in frame. I'm
Well,
sorry. I'm
I'd be
actually.
happy with every single one of those.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
noticed.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good. Thank
Um,
you.
I think to kind of go the other side of the coin, since I was jokingly talking about our OT boys and their
Uh-huh.
medicine they might need to take. When's the last time we got a land speeder in TVC? Is it 2011? Was that really the last time?
Yes.
That's on my list, actually.
So with the
Yes.
Cantina stuff coming, that seems like
You
a
mean
That was why.
and with
brainer, right?
return to Tatooine again,
We just
even
got a
though
new Luke
even
pipeline.
though
I mean,
we haven't really left Tatooine very much since the barge, but
Why does
we're
everyone
returning
want
to
to go
Tatooine.
back to
Tatooine.
Tatooine?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's yeah, y'all are right. That one's definitely due for an updated re-release for sure. For sure.
sorry,
what
Pat. I
about
stole
pod
one of yours, so
racers?
you can. That's a good
No,
segue
no,
to
no,
you, I
no.
guess.
That was definitely on my list. That pod racers, a
Oh,
repainted
Oh,
N1 would be super easy to do.
I didn't have that on
Um,
the list. Yeah.
I would love a new AT-AT, an ATTE, and a
That was
lat.
on my list.
That's what I want.
ATTE was on my list.
Nice.
Yeah, ATTE as a, just reissue the Clone Wars one. That
Hmm.
one, it's still a great mold. Is it perfect? No, but the 3/4 scale vehicles aren't perfect or perfectly to scale. We all know
Yeah.
that,
Oh yeah.
especially in TVC. So, but the Clone Wars ATTE was really close, and it's still a really, really great ATTE. I think it would be a no-brainer to just reissue it in the TVC line like they did so many other vehicles, some of
Yeah.
which were even from the Clone Wars line. Like the V-19 Torrent fighter from in the TVC packaging is just a
Hmm.
reissue of the Clone Wars V-19 Torrent fighter. So they've done it before. They can easily do it again. In that same vein, the turbo tank
Ooh,
in Revenge of the Sith packaging, the Revenge
Mm-hmm.
of the Sith box was
man.
on my list
That
because
would be
it first
awesome.
debuted in Revenge of the Sith. I'll never
Yeah.
forget wanting the original Turbo Tank Lego set back in the day so bad. It was so cool. I mean, now it looks terrible, but back then it was the coolest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Hindsight and all that.
I think this goes back to like the business thing I was referring to, like on them kind of pivoting, because everything we're talking about, if you guys were collecting back in the day, or at least know someone who collected, like an uncle or anybody, family member, these clearance very often. I remember Turbo Tank being very cheap to get. I didn't buy it, but I had an uncle who was all into
Heck,
it
not
and
no more.
clearance. Yeah. ATT. I don't know if that one clearance, but I remember it
Four
sitting
hundred
for a
dollar vehicle
while.
now.
Things of that sort. So I wonder if there's just a risk aversion, because I know Pat, you're missing it, but
Hmm.
we used to go hard on 375
I
vehicles, and
think you're
then
definitely onto something.
yeah,
Yeah,
they sat. I mean, especially when you think about
they
business
did.
aspect of it too. Like space on shelves is money, right? And the more
Yes,
it
Yep.
sits,
yes, it is.
the worse. And
That's the other thing people don't
yeah,
take into account is part of the reason why Walmart and Target get exclusives consistently is because of how much money they're paying into Hasbro and how much product they're
Hmm.
carrying for Hasbro.
yeah,
That's why these companies get exclusives and get so many is because of how much volume and how much money they're spending on Hasbro. But that does go both ways.
yeah,
And why we've seen shelves shrink over the years is because stores like Walmart and Target aren't seeing that physical return because so many collectors either have that mentality of waiting and seeing, or they're just not seeing that character that they want that day because we're tired of looking at Lando, right? So it's a little bit of both, for
yeah.
sure.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think actually we had some in the chat real quick too. Um, Kentucky said do a Kelleran Beck Grogu for like deluxe.
Oh,
That'd be pretty cool.
like a small scale vehicle,
Yeah.
yeah. Do the
Oh, that
sidecar
too. Oh,
theater,
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was
yeah.
Oh,
thinking about
I
just
didn't think
those
about
two.
that
Oh,
either.
wow. Okay.
Sean Crockett just asked, is
Could
there
dig it.
Zezor coming? If not, an updated Zezor. There isn't in 3/4 scale. We are
That
getting
would be
one in
good.
Black Series. But yes, in
Yeah.
3/4, definitely. Temple Guard. Temple Guard. Yeah, that one we have one Temple Guard, and that's another crazy expensive figure on a line that was pretty much largely slept on because it was 5 POA. And Temple Guard is just stupid expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's at right this second, but the last time I looked, it was well over $100, even loose. Um,
Somehow Merrick returns. I just saw
Somehow
that.
Merrick returns. Episode 4, Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan. That's another one that
That's
definitely.
Pipeline, I think. Is it not?
Is
I
Was
it?
thought
it?
that was on the
Oh, is
Pipeline
it? Here, I could triple check.
image. I could have sworn it was, but I
It
could be
might have
wrong.
been.
I could triple
It
check.
very well might have been. Oh, a Leia 3-pack. Young Leia,
That would be
Rebel
cool.
Leia, and
Hmm.
General Leia. That's cool. That's actually a really cool idea, and I
Yeah.
really like that a lot. Tag and Bink Stormtroopers. That's a funny pick. For those of you who don't know what do either of you know what Tag and Bink are? Oh, while I'm about to
Nope.
move on,
Nope. Yeah.
hang on. I'm gonna
Nope.
do a since I can. Got the look for it. I'm gonna do it with a Pedro Pascal. And you should know this too. Okay, so Tag and Bink are a couple of I don't think they were actually original. They weren't originally stormtroopers. They were actually Rebel fleet troopers, and this was a kind of. It was always Legends. It was never canon, but it was this like side story of a misadventures these two buddies got into in the original trilogy, specifically A New Hope first, and yeah, they ended up in stormtrooper gear too, but if I remember correctly, they didn't start out as stormtroopers, and only disguised themselves as such to survive, and it just goes from there. They're really funny. They're just two buddy cop stormtroopers that get into shenanigans, and yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want figures of those guys? Yep.
Is this fan
Fair
art?
enough.
Were they?
No, no, this is from the
Oh,
comic.
do you have it pulled up?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Ah,
curious. I was
I
genuinely
gotta
curious.
scroll back
This
up.
Yeah,
is
no, it's
pretty
not.
dang
It's not
cool.
fan art. That's the art
That's
style. Yeah.
really.
Yep.
Well, no, I thought you
Yep.
were just saying they're stormtroopers, but that's
No,
pretty.
no, no.
Wow.
No, they're not actually stormtroopers. I
Well,
mean,
yeah. I mean,
they
the
do end up
skies.
as
Yeah.
stormtroopers
Yeah.
there, but they're
Yeah.
not actually
Hmm.
stormtroopers. Or at least they
Mhm.
didn't
I
start
saw
that
this
way.
Reddit tag and Bink and Rise of Skywalker speculation. That's pretty funny, actually. If that's
That I mean,
that,
yeah, that would be funny.
or even these two from
Yeah,
Mando, the scouts.
very
That'd be
very
pretty
funny.
funny,
That
actually.
would be funny. Yeah.
It
Huh.
reminded me more of Griff and Simmons from Red versus Blue than anything else.
Yeah.
Those two guys.
Red
For
versus
for those
Blue.
of you
What
who
a
used to watch
what
Red
a
versus
classic.
Blue.
Yeah. Now we're aging ourselves, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
for real. Well, while Red versus Blue was still good, like in the first
Yeah.
three
Of
seasons.
course. Of course.
After
The
that,
peak.
we don't know what they were trying to do. I still don't know the story they were trying to tell after that. Don't ask me. I watched it, but I still don't get it.
That's funny. Well, do we have any more either honorable mentions, vehicles, anything of that sort, or?
Oh, yes we do.
Mm,
Oh, yes we do.
I
I
think
only
I've
gave you the
exhausted
small
my list.
vehicles. I didn't give you the regular
Oh
ones,
yes,
aside
yeah,
from
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
ATTE and Turbo Tank. So, we're going with Revenge of the Sith. And well, before I get into Revenge of the Sith, I'll mention again a TVC reissue of the T70 X-wing. Hasbro loves reissuing and repainting the T65 from the OT, and that's great. I love it. It's classic, and there's so many different paint jobs. There's so much more mileage they can get out of that mold. But we only have one T70, and it's Poe's the orange one from the Rise of Skywalker. But I would love to see the black one get made in TVC for
that'd be nice.
The Force Awakens, and then maybe include the afterburner that he somehow gets installed in between the few hours of the end of The Force Awakens and the beginning of The Last Jedi, but that's neither here nor there. That would be cool to have in there too, or maybe they do it as a variant years later.
Carson's
And then
in one of those too, right?
who's that?
Carson Teva?
No, he's in a T65.
65, yeah, okay. Because I'm trying to
He's in-
figure out
he's
how the
still
heck
in-
do we
They're
get him?
still
And I
using
think
T65 still.
yeah, I think that's how we get him though, in a vehicle pack.
Mando
It
packaging
makes
T65.
a ton of
New
sense.
Republic, yeah.
Yeah, it just
Why
makes
not?
too much sense. But
Yeah,
anyways,
why
yeah.
not? And then of course the classic gray and blue T70 from The Force Awakens, because that's your army builder X-wing for the sequel trilogy era, since the rest of Black Squadron was in the blue and gray X-wings. Yep. And again, the mold exists in TVC. Hasbro, we just got to change the colors. Just got to change the colors a little bit, because the TVC T70 X-wing from Rise of Skywalker is really awesome. So that's a T65. That's Anton American. But
I noticed that soon after. I was like, oh.
there you go. That's a T. That's a T7. The biggest difference between the two, the easiest, quickest way to discern the two, is the engines on the front, especially. And on the engines on the front, you have like two full circle intakes that split in half when the S foils open up. And on the T60, there are 4 turbines
Yeah.
on the front. So
Bobbypedia.
Fun fact: S
God,
foils on starfighters are
I'm learning
to
so much.
radiate heat. That's why the
Oh,
wings open. It's to disperse heat,
Mm,
excess heat. So when they go to attack speed, more heat is going to build up in your starfighter. That's why fighters like the X-wing, the Arc 170, which is an older kind of variant from the same manufacturer, have those uh, S-foils that open up. They're radiator fins that let out heat from the fighter. Same with the ETA 2 Interceptor and
mhm.
the TIE fighters. Those aren't solar panels, those are radiator panels that radiate out heat because having those twin ion engines compact and built in so cheaply like they do in the TIE fighter pod, they got to radiate that heat out more efficiently, more widespread. That's why the wings on the TIE are so big.
that's a Bobbypedia knowledge bomb. That's awesome. How you retain that information. That is awesome.
It's a lot.
I'm in awe every
Uh,
time, honestly.
Me too,
so
man. I
some
wish I could remember it all.
some of those vehicles I mentioned are on my list, like the Arc 170. We got to see it back at the start of the Revenge of the Sith line back in the day. It was one of my first vehicles of Revenge of the Sith after the very first vehicle, which is also on my list, Anakin's yellow and gray ETA 2 Interceptor from the beginning. We have Obi-Wan's in TVC. It
Agreed.
got released
Yeah.
in Phase 1. It was a reissue of the Revenge of the Sith toy. It's the same toy that came in Revenge of the Sith packaging. I feel like they can just get away with that again, honestly, because that mold is actually really, really good and has been since the beginning, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, it could do with some updating here and there, but largely, on the whole, for what we have, it's very good. So, getting that reissued, that's Titanium Series.
Yep, I know. I
And
had to give
Revenge
something.
of the Sith
I'm
would be
trying to
great.
plug the site a little bit.
Oh, I know. I think we should have images of the actual vehicle on there
Let me see. That
from
was
the
the
3/4
quickest.
line. Go to Hasbro on when you click on uh, galleries or categories, I think is what the tab is called, up at the top.
I'll have to find
Anyway,
it. Yeah.
getting that one in a Revenge of the Sith box to go with the Obi-Wan would be great. And then I feel like if they're going to do that, it's going to crazy drive up the value on that other one. So I feel like they should also reissue the Obi-Wan. Um,
I'm gonna
and
show the
then why
arc
stop?
because I
Why stop
love the
there?
arc.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah.
love the Arc 170.
And we're getting it in Lego too this year, so I think it's already
Yes,
dropped actually. So
yes.
why not?
I've
Come on,
heard.
guys.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, why stop there? Why not do the white and blue one that Obi-Wan took to Utapau, and the green and white one that Vader took to Mustafar in TVC box? And honestly, with the Arc 170, I feel like they could just reissue that as is. Maybe update the paint job a little bit, like they did with the Republic gunship for its release from Attack of the Clones toy line to TVC, because it is the same mold there as well. Think that would be a good option. Reissue General Grievous's Solus one. It got first released in 30th
Yes.
anniversary line. That vehicle is very good. Detail wise, for 3/4 scale, it's very accurate. It scales pretty much where it should. They nailed it. Put it in a VC box. Done. General Grievous's wheel bike. I feel like General Grievous's wheel bike is a little bit too big of a vehicle to be something like, in a speeder bike package, right? Because it was also released in kind of full size packaging. So General Grievous's wheel bike would be nice, especially since the one we got for the Revenge of the Sith toy line is very inaccurate. The chair that Grievous sits on is on the wrong side of the bike, and the cannon is a little off. Yeah, see on the wheel bike. Yeah, he's sitting on the right side, and the chair is
Hmm.
actually on the left. The cannon and the chair switched in the movie, and then just update the articulation and release a better Grievous with it, if one at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, that's probably
You
the
know,
number one thing. That Grievous suit,
Ugh,
that was so pitiful. I
that's
remember
like
that one.
looking rough.
that's like the Grievous you cut to if you wanted to do a nasty patty image of a Grievous toy.
Yes, yeah, indeed. Yeah, hard times.
Oh
Poor
man.
guy.
Ugh. Yeah. He's ugly, but I still love him. And the Separatist snail tank first appeared in Star Wars in the Battle of Kashyyyk. It got released in the Clone Wars toy line in 3/4 scale in 2009 or 2010, somewhere around there. And to be Revenge of the Sith accurate, I feel like they could just reissue the same mold, but in Revenge of the Sith accurate colors instead of that kind of dull.
You said snail dread, and I was like, huh? I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
the
yep.
snail tank.
That makes a ton of sense. Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
The eyes are
Yeah.
red and silver in Revenge of the Sith. So just updated colors to be more Revenge of the Sith color accurate, but the mold
Yeah.
itself was pretty good. So yeah, that would be an awesome one to get in the VC box, I think. And I mean, honestly, we could really go on. There's so many vehicles that aren't in TVC or in a TVC box but are in 3/4 scale. That would be so nice to have in the line. I'm sure you've got several more that you can think of, Pat, that you would like to see.
I mean, the ones that I have listed are like I want to see an ATTE. I would love to get that, especially after getting the Micro Galaxy Squadron one and playing around with it. I'm like, man,
yeah,
this
that
just
one
needs to be
is awesome.
bigger.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I love the Micro Galaxy stuff, but like I would still rather it be in
Bigger. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm with you. It's
Well,
Micro
my shelves don't
Galaxy.
agree, but
Micro Galaxy does a lot of great, especially like at that smaller scale, what they can do with play features and things like having the drop down ramp. I feel like Hasbro could do that too, though. At this point, I mean, back then, maybe not, but now I think they could definitely pull it off. It would probably be a HasLab project at that point, though.
probably.
If we're
Oh,
gonna
could
get
you
an ATT
imagine?
like that,
Oh,
Yeah,
that
would
would
be
be
sweet.
gnarly. That,
that would be
yeah.
Would be.
sweet. And maybe the tier unlocks are it comes with a specific. Oh, like the Ryloth ATRT, since that's the first time we see an ATRT drop down out of the back of an ATT.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
And what if we? Oh man, I don't want it to be a HasLab, but I know
I
that
don't
it has
either,
to be,
but
With it's a big boy, man. You have to, and then we it goes back to sitting on shelves, things of that sort, right? It kind of has to be at this point, right?
to your point earlier about that, when the Falcon got re-released as the in the vintage collection as the Smuggler's Run version,
Yeah,
if y'all
yeah,
remember
that
that,
one sat too.
which was
Yeah.
the second time.
dude, I bought it
Second
brand
time it got
new,
released in DC.
thinking that I'd never, yeah, exactly, but I thought I'd never see it in stores, so I ordered one off the website.
Yep.
And there were three of them that sat there and rotted. I think by the time they actually all sold, it was $100.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say I
I mean,
remember
that's
it for 100.
insanity.
I'm so mad I didn't buy it, but yeah.
It's
I should have bought a second one
about
just
10 times
cause.
that
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, they were like
Yeah.
500,
It's
600
closer to
now,
10
right?
times that now.
Yeah.
They're
Something like
6
that.
to 8 now, I think. Sealed. They're 6
Yeah.
to 8 now.
Oh, sealed.
They're
Yeah.
like 4 to 6 loose.
I think it was 4 new, or was it 3 new? I mean,
I think it's
was
like
it's
350.
been a while.
I think it was
375.
350.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
God, how times have changed.
Yeah.
Which honestly, it's not bad. I mean, that's about HasLab price.
Yeah, I was gonna say. That's
Yeah,
what
exactly. Yeah.
And for the release that we got with that, it really is the best release of the Falcon so far comparatively.
Yeah.
The other TVC release is great, more so depending on who you ask because of the box, because it's classic OT box and it's gorgeous in person.
Yeah.
But I mean, when they did that Falcon, that changed the game for 3/4 scale vehicles, and it's just remained to be one of the greatest. And I feel like they really capitalized on what made that Falcon great, but improved on it by adding the swappable dish and the optional electronics for the Smuggler's Run ride, in addition to what already existed before.
And those are the only things that were added, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
all they did was add to
The
it.
swappable disc.
They didn't take anything away from it. They just added to it, and that's a beautiful thing. Now, what I hope they do at some point in the future, since we're on the subject of the Falcon, and
Mhm.
it shouldn't be a HasLab since it's already been a retail release vehicle, so I feel like it's too late to go back on the Falcon here, Hasbro. Do the solo version with the pod.
Yeah.
Do the
I
solo version with
actually
the pod. How
I'm
hard is that?
looking at a solo version right now, up
Right.
hanging up on my wall, but it was the cheap,
Yeah.
I forget again what that line was called, but the cheap one.
Force Link 2.0.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Also solo. It was also branded solo.
Yeah.
The specific name
But
was
I mean, I remember waiting that one out. I think I got that one for like $15 or something. As crazy that is. So,
nice.
but yes, I would love a full size version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Give me
It
one.
wouldn't be too difficult. They just need to change and smooth out the outer layer a little bit, but
Hmm.
the fundamental chassis is going to be pretty much the same, right? Especially the interior. The interior is mostly just going to be different in color. The way I see it. The turbo, not turbo. The laser cannons are going to be single cannons instead of quad laser, so that's actually less plastic for them to produce there, which is good because they're going to need it for that pod that's going to fit into the front
Yeah.
mandibles, because we need a proper pod that's not just a lay down coffin, because that's not what that escape craft was. It was essentially like a mini, um, it was a mini fighter basically. It was more
Yep.
like a snub fighter than an escape pod. So even though we didn't really get to see it in action. Yeah.
X-wing players know.
Yes.
The X-wing boys
X-Wing
know.
players know.
R.I.P. But yeah.
Hey, the community is still alive
It is
though. They're
still
still
alive.
playing.
Yep.
There's still fan
Kudos.
tournaments getting organized,
Yep.
and fan mechanics going forward, and fan rules. So there's
Yeah.
still new game modes being developed. The fans have picked up where Fantasy Flight callously just let it fall, and that's not Fantasy Flight. Sorry,
No, I
I,
was gonna
I
say.
misspoke.
I forgot.
Asmodee.
That.
Asmodee
Yep.
callously let it fall,
Yep.
and their excuse was we ran out of stuff to do, even though there's a
It's Star Wars. You
huge
can.
amount of
Yeah.
ships for them to do. They barely scratched the surface, but hey, it is what it is.
That's another stream. But anyways.
Yeah, we won't get into that. Looking at you, Simone. Gosh. Oh, Asmodee. Oh, Asmodee.
Were
But
y'all
hey,
both
we
in
got
deep on
Aqua
that or
Droids.
no?
We got Aqua Droids and Crab Droids in Legion. So hey, I am happy about that. I won't lie.
Yes,
And
Pat.
Star
We
Wars
were though.
Unlimited. Star Wars Unlimited is goated. It's so good. So much fun. If you haven't been playing it,
Uh,
go get some packs. Go get a starter deck. There's 3 different eras you can pick from right now, and they're great. Series 4 is going to come out here pretty soon. Um, yeah, get Star Wars Unlimited. Odds are your favorite characters in the game already.
I have not played it myself, but
You are
I
missing. Hey,
definitely want
you
to.
know what? We'll play some when you're up at RSC year 2, unless I see you sooner to hang out or something.
Oh yeah, man, that sounds good.
Because we'll be doing more unlimited play at RSC year 2. We hosted
Hmm.
a small unlimited tournament at year 1, but
I do remember.
series 1 of unlimited had just come out at that point, so the game was still very in its infancy.
Hmm.
But we do plan on doing more unlimited play for sure at Rebel Scum Con year 2, as well as other gaming tournaments. In fact, um, Sabak for Charity is I believe, going to have
They are.
RSC year as part of their yearly tournament circuit for their Sabak tournament this year, which is really awesome and we're excited about. Right now, what Dante is scrolling through is our year 1 celebrity guests that we had. We had over 40 guests at year 1 of RSC. Year 2 is going to have a little bit less than that because we wanted to make a big splash for year 1. Although year 2 is also going to have a lot of guests.
Oh yeah. We already
Like
have three
it's not going to be
announced.
half. It's not going to be less than half, but it's not going to be 40.
Yeah.
So, um,
Yeah. We have
and
three. Three so far officially announced. Two more later this week.
and
So a lot of good
and,
stuff and many more coming. So.
and a few that were sneaky peeky announced on the Order 66 Toys Friday Night Live show, also here on Facebook/Meta. So if you haven't checked that out, we go
Nice.
live at 7 p.m. Central Time every Friday. We showcase Star Wars toys and collectibles from going all the way back to 77, all the way up to current. and we talk about lore. We have discussionary stuff like this too. Some of the people watching right now also regularly participate in that show, and it's a lot of fun. And last night we also announced a few others. Do you want me to spill the beans for you, Dante, or
Oh, I
you,
know.
Patrick?
I know.
You know?
I
Yeah.
don't know yet. Lay it on me.
Go ahead. Get it for Patrick.
So, Green Leader,
Nice.
Arsenal from Return of
Okay.
the Jedi will be there, and Hobby Clivian from the Battle
Mm-hmm.
of Hoth is also going to be there.
Nice.
You know,
Yeah. Official
Very cool.
announcements.
Very cool.
very
Official
excited.
announcements TBD.
Very
To
excited.
be
And
TBA.
in Kentucky threw in the names for me: Jim Swearington, Richard
Mm-hmm.
Oldfield, and Hilton McRae, which was the other one I forgot to mention. Um, and yeah, we're already kicking off. Plus, we already have um, Howie Weed and Roger Christian on the website right now for year two. One of the original Wampas, not during the original trilogy, he was a special edition Wampa, but he's still an original trilogy Wampa in my heart. And he's also one of the last remaining Wampa actors from the original trilogy out there still. So we're
Yeah.
really excited to have him out. And then Roger Christian is a man who needs no introduction. I mean, he is definitely one of the fathers of Star Wars. Um,
Star Wars
deserves to be,
MacGyver, basically.
yeah, he certainly deserves to be spoken within the same breath as George Lucas, Ralph McQuarrie, Joe Johnston, um, and so many others. Um, yeah,
Yeah, that's a
we're
definitely a
we're really
water the wine, water in the
excited.
wine kind of guy.
Yeah, I
He's the
mean,
guy.
the man who created the lightsaber, like one of
It's a
the
lot.
most
Yeah.
one of the most iconic weapons in human history. And what's crazy is it used to be fiction, but not anymore. It's not. Lightsabers are real now, thanks to the hacksmith,
The
kind of.
laser sword is he was tasked with. I had to do a lot of back end lore dump for myself just to hype it up for everyone else too. So
Hmm.
yeah, called it a laser sword. That's what George Lucas called it. Laser sword. Any laser sword. What does it look
Mm-hmm.
like? This is what it looks like. Cool. Let's roll with it. So
Great.
that's crazy to think about. Just creating the first of many things. The interior of Millennium Falcon. I think I saw R2D2
Yeah.
too. Um, a
So
lot. There's a
much.
ton. There's
So much.
more than I can rattle off. I'm sure Bobby could rattle them all off, but just from
I'm
my
I'm
research.
sure. I'm sure I couldn't because every time I look up something about this guy, I find something
Yeah.
I didn't. And that's another really cool thing
Oh, Han
is
Solo's
how
blaster. That was
made.
one.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That. I mean, obviously we know that was kind of like a MacGyver
And Tuck said he
concoction.
has an Academy Award for set design. Yeah.
The Eli the
Yeah.
blaster. Yeah, we can go. We can go the whole. Yeah, it's insane. But
Hmm.
anyways, we
So
don't want to leave.
year two,
Yeah.
just like year one, is gonna have incredibly interesting Star Wars celebrities that you've probably never met before. And even if you have met them before, well, come meet them again. And the other few that are definitely there that you definitely have not met before, because there's some other interesting guests that we're pursuing right now that we're very excited about. And um, while that seems like it might have narrowed it down because we had 40 last year and we're pursuing different guests, it really doesn't because there's so many wonderful people who have contributed to the making the galaxy far, far away come to life for our viewing pleasure. And you can bet that we're going to try to get to as many of them as humanly possible throughout the years of Rebel Scum Con for you guys to get to meet and hang out with.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, that was a great way to wrap it up. We're going on 3 hours, so I think we should.
Are we? Is that
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Dante,
Right.
you know I could go all night long
No,
with
I
you.
mean it was
Oh.
a great
And I'm
time though.
sitting down. Imagine what my stamina is like right now. I'm just sitting down. I'm not flipping over notes. I'm not having to remember 300 different characters and which toy line they're from and which scene they're from and which movie or show they're from, which is usually what happens every Friday night.
Yeah. We'll have to
So
figure this
so I
out
can build
again.
some
You know,
probably
I
devices on that.
I love shout out to Star Wars TVC, SWTVC, at SWTVC,
SWTVC, yes.
on Instagram. Great community thing they're doing here.
Hmm.
Definitely appreciate it.
And
I wouldn't have thought of doing something like that. Maybe we can do one for Black Series. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah,
this got me kind of thinking. I wanna do a Black Series video like this at some
yeah,
point in the near future
Yeah.
now because like we said, while we had a lot of cool character suggestions for TVC, there's also a lot of these characters that we mentioned even in our lineups today that aren't in Black Series 6-inch scale yet.
yeah,
Not a ton of them,
But a good
especially
amount
on
of them.
my list,
yeah,
but a good amount
Yeah.
of them.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
a good enough amount of them, shall we say? We can easily come up with 25, and odds are, I'm sure we'll come up with completely different characters again, which
Probably.
will be funny. So stay tuned for more content like this. Check the main website, rebelscum.com, guys. We have all kinds of awesome Star Wars news, fan content, reviews, and more happening all the time. We have a number of other websites as well. CoolToyReview.com is like Rebel Scum, but it's non-Star Wars toy news, reviews, and more. And Nick is the main gentleman who heads up that website there. There's our QR code there, and it'll take you to all of our various different websites and channels and things. Follow Patrick on TikTok and Instagram at Turntable to the Dark Side. Follow
Yes.
me
As I
at
say, let's give Patrick a. After you're done with your spiel, let's give
yeah,
Patrick the floor too, where we can find
sure.
him and things of that sort, and we'll sign off.
Absolutely, absolutely. Follow me at Triptychonus on Instagram, TikTok, and pretty much here on Meta because a lot of my content, if it's not under Robbie Robertson, is also under Triptychonus here. And then there's collectorsoracle.com where you can keep track of your TVC collection and Black Series collection. Mostly, we do need to update it. We are aware that we haven't been able to update it in a little while. We're getting to it, I promise. But Collector's Oracle, it is really cool. You can have a free account on there and share your list with friends and family you like. And then we already showed off Rebel Scum Conventions with an S.com, which is the website for our convention. Right now, he's taking you through collectorsoracle.com though, and it's pretty cool. I like how we have it broken down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to keep track of my Roger variants on there. A lot of my Roger customs are also marked on my collectorsoracle.com profile, because you can get specific on your halves and type in descriptions on them too. It's pretty cool. And again, 100% free to use. So, all right, take it away, Patrick. Where can they find you other than a couple of places I mentioned?
Well, first of all, thank you, gentlemen, for having me, and
Sure.
thanks to Star Wars: The Vintage Collection (SWTVC) on Instagram for doing this at all. It's a really cool idea. I wish I'd been involved in the previous few years, but I guess my head's just been buried in the sand that I love so much. Um,
Hey, it's okay. I,
there,
I haven't I haven't been participating in years past either, and
I
all we
I
can
just
do
found out
is
about it, so I
start
yeah,
participating and move on.
yeah, for sure.
I've always kind of followed along with it
Yeah,
because
me too.
I know I know some of the guys that are affiliated, but never participated. So thank you guys for pushing me in the direction of actually doing it this year.
Yeah, heck
So
yeah. I'll make it a
Oh,
yeah,
yearly thing. It's been a ton
I,
of fun. Thanks for being on the
yeah,
team.
definitely,
and I'm gonna
absolutely,
have
man. Thanks for
to
having me.
extend that same thanks to you guys because, like you said, Patrick, I hadn't been participating in it either. I've
Hmm.
known about it pretty much the whole
Sure.
time, and I've always thought it was cool, but I
Mhm.
I never took that step either to also make my list because again, I'm not really a VC collector, and since
Yeah,
they've been doing it, I haven't primarily been a VC collector, which is
that's fair.
probably why I guess I haven't. But
Yeah,
lately, I've been trying to be more vocal about what the TVC is missing and still needs, especially in our review content here on rebelscum.com
yeah,
when I cover some of these awesome characters that we have in Black Series but are sorely missing in TVC. I try to make a point to make sure that even though I don't collect that line, that still should be there for those that do, because
still
Black
important.
Series and TVC collectors, I mean, there's probably about an equal amount of us, I'd say, at this point. Maybe a bit more
so.
TVC than Black Series, but TVC is so foundationally rooted, especially 3/3/4 scale being the foundation toy for Star Wars
Heritage
as a
scale.
whole.
Yeah.
It's definitely a scale that needs to be treated with the most respect, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Even if I don't collect it.
Yeah. And I hope it continues many, many years into the future.
I mean, if there's any line that should go, it should be the last one to go for Star Wars. If Star Wars was to disappear from the toy market, it should be the last one to go before any other line. Not that any of it should go anywhere. None of it should.
No, hopefully not. But
you know,
it's what we started out with. That's what we end with. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It is the foundation. It is the bedrock, rock bottom of Star Wars toy collecting, and always will be. Regardless if you're a Hot Toys collector or not, you started with 3/3/4 scale, and we all know it.
That's a solid assessment. I hadn't really, but yeah, no, you're right. You're right. We all start there somewhere, or at some
Hot
point.
Toys, Black Series, doesn't matter. We all started with 3/3/4.
Yep. Definitely true.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. But yeah, thanks, fellas. I appreciate y'all again. We'll figure out some type of how we can make this. It doesn't have to, be every month or everything like that. But we can figure something out. So we can,
yeah,
man,
collab and things of that sort. So, or even, I mean, shoot, if you guys did want to do some type of like quarterly podcast, hey, I'm a TVC guy. Here's what we have for the quarter, like Q1, which is January through March. This is what was revealed.
Yeah.
I'm not against it.
Do that.
We could even get Nick on here too.
I'm not against it.
I don't have a ton
of releases,
Nick
would love
we'll
to
see.
do it.
We'll see.
Sounds good to me.
We'll talk about it later. But yeah, appreciate everyone for hanging out. I'm gonna roll the intro as the outro. But appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Bobby gave us a sign off.
Thank
where to find us, and obviously, if you guys know where to find Turntable the Dark Side too. But appreciate everyone who's been, with us still. We've been around since '97.
Hang on now. Where can they find you, Dante?
Oh, I don't have anything set up yet, but I will add it in post when that does happen.
Okay.
I am planning on making.
Because you're here too.
I am planning on making more content for Star Wars. I just,
Yeah, man, you got
to figure it out.
Yes, you do.
May not be collecting.
Part of the ship.
Yeah.
Part of the crew.
We'll figure it out.
Part of the ship.
But yeah, appreciate y'all a ton. Everyone who's watched, who is gonna watch, whatever it may be. Hope you guys enjoyed. And oh, Bobby, you got to do the sign off actually.
Yep. We'll see you guys later. We'll see you another time. And may the force be with all of you, you rebel scum.
Bye, guys.